Joining me in the broadcast booth this afternoon is Gary Swanson from WPIC Radio in Sharon, Pennsylvania. And Gary, not only is this a rematch from last year's game, it's almost an instant replay. The conditions are almost identical.
Absolutely. It was a very cold field at Westminster's Memorial Field last year, and both these teams battled it out in the snow and ice. I think it's a little bit slicker this afternoon here at Fawcett Stadium. It's almost like an ice hockey rink down there in the field. I had an opportunity to walk around on it a little bit earlier this morning, and the field crews did a nice job of cleaning it up for what they could do, but it's going to be a slick one this afternoon.
Besides the obvious key factors of the game, the field and the weather, what other things might determine the outcome of this ball game?
Well, anytime you have two teams that get this far, obviously, into a national championship game, you have to think that certainly any kind of mistake is going to be a key mistake. Any type of major penalty or anything like that is going to come back to haunt either one of these teams. Also, special teams are going to play a big part, actually, because of the weather this afternoon. Field position is going to be very important for both teams, and the special teams are going to play a very big part for each squad.
By the end of this game, if these two teams don't know each other pretty well, something's wrong. 2 times within a period of 1 year. Earlier this week, we had a chance to talk to the two head coaches, Joe Fusco from Westminster and Roger Herring from LaCrosse. Here's what they had to say.
Well, I think, number one, both Roger and I would say that we know a little bit more about each other this year than we did a year ago. You know, when you break down just 3 game films to prepare for a team, you really don't get the feel for the kind of players they have and their personalities and the tradition of the program. We have a better feel for that and greater respect for what they've done.
Okay, we're about a couple of minutes before the opening kickoff. We'll be back with that kickoff after this.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Barner, Chair of the Communication Arts Department at Westminster, welcoming all the Titan fans to our first live telecast from a remote location. The department is excited about the Titans and this opportunity to reach 35,000 cable homes and a potential 3.5 million backyard dishes. I wish to extend special thanks to Mr. Charles Mansell, the Mansell and Jameson Law Firm, Newcastle. He personally contacted the sponsors for today's game, making the broadcast financially possible. Also, thanks to Wilmington Borough Cable, Adelphia Cable, and Century Shenango Cable for technical support. Today's telecast not only provides service to fans, but creates a great educational opportunity for Westminster students. Westminster students are involved hands-on with this production. In addition, today's radio broadcast on WBZY is totally student-produced, and this hands-on experience is extremely valuable for future broadcasters. One of today's announcers, Gary Swanson, is a 1988 Westminster graduate from our telecommunications program. And the entire Communication Arts Department says, good luck, Titans. Bring it all home.
Back at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio, this is Jim Socia along with Gary Swanson from WPIC Radio in Sharon, Pennsylvania. I'm from WXOW in LaCrosse, Wisconsin, and we're happy to get the opportunity to bring you this NAIA Division II championship game. Back to what might happen here. Gary, you spent some time this week talking to some of the Titan players. What kind of mood are they in?
I'll tell you what, Jim, they're pretty pumped up really coming into the ball game. They like this kind of weather. They're come from a very conservative area of Pennsylvania. It's a small, quaint little town, and football is very important in western Pennsylvania, as it is in the Wisconsin area with the lacrosse team. And they're very fired up coming into today's game. They were excited when they found out that it was going to be cold. I don't know if they were excited when they found out how cold it was going to be, but they're very much looking forward to this opportunity to repeat as national champions.
You know, there's a pretty good crowd on hand, considering we're at about 5 degrees above zero right now. I know about 600 fans made the trip down from LaCrosse. Lots of folks from New Wilmington, Pennsylvania are here. They're expecting that whole community to be here. The fans are bundled up, and I don't think the cold is going to have too much bearing on the game, really.
Right now, when we see the captains meeting at the center of the field, I don't think anybody on that field right now is feeling the cold. But once the game gets underway, once that first hit is gone, I think the cold will be out of everybody's mind. Everybody will be concentrating on the game. Come halftime, there'll be a few folks looking for some hot chocolate, but other than that, I think we've got a good ball game in front of us.
Both schools have been talking all week long about the revenge factor. Does that really come into play in a game like this?
I think it does a little bit, especially for lacrosse. They have to have the edge there motivationally. Last year they came so close to coming away with a national championship, and Westminster beat them in the final second. So they've got a reason to come back here and try and pull this one out and get a little bit of revenge for this year.
Okay, you look now, they're ready to flip the coin, and no matter who wins this thing, that team is not going to make a decision. Both teams are in the habit of deferring the decision until the second half, and in a game like this, Gary, I think you'd probably rather start it on defense with the field conditions what they are.
Absolutely. A deep kick and a stall on offense could really swing the momentum, and that's going to be the key in this ball game. The team that can establish its momentum early and get the other team starting to question their game plan a little bit is going to be the team that comes out on top.
Both teams have all the momentum they apparently need. Westminster is on an incredible winning streak. They've won their last 26 games, haven't lost one since the 1987 season. LaCrosse doesn't have that long of a winning streak, 6 games, but they've really played their best football late in the year. They beat Eau Claire, they beat River Falls at home, and in the playoffs they've been extremely tough, especially the last 2 weeks. That defense has really, really risen to the occasion.
Both of these teams are defense-oriented, and that comes back to that decision in the early part of the ballgame to defer the kick and allow your defense to get out there and set the tempo for your whole team. What else can you say? I mean, it's a national championship. They're both looking at each other right now and waiting to get out there and do some popping on the field and get that cold feeling out and get that first hit off and start concentrating on the game.
Yeah, neither team got to this stage without the ability to adjust to different conditions and different situations, and the team that is able to adjust best, again, to this field and the pressure is probably going to be the team that wins this game. We are expecting a very good game. All year long, we've kind of been watching this back in Wisconsin, and we thought all year long LaCrosse and Westminster were clearly the 2 best teams in the country. It's kind of nice to see them going at it again.
Early part of the season, they were ranked number 1 and number 2. Westminster, of course, being the defending champion, had the number 1 spot. Wisconsin ranked number 2. They slid a little bit during the season, but they're right back there now. And like you say, a carbon copy of 1988. The 2 teams will battle it out here this afternoon.
The officials break up their huddle at the 50-yard line. Meanwhile, the Titan players are still huddled around head coach Joe Fusco, and now they break it, and we're just about ready to go here. Okay, we did, as we said earlier, talk to Roger Herring last night. Here's what he had to say about today's big rematch.
Well, Westminster's a tremendous football team. Obviously, they're ranked number 1 in the country all year, and I think it's just a great opportunity to play against a class bunch of people. Joe Fusco is just a great individual, and they can be very proud of their longest winning streak of any team in the country. So we're just happy to have the opportunity to play against them. Hopefully, play well tomorrow.
Okay, both teams are out on the field. We are ready to go. Westminster will kick it off. Rob Dansu will kick off, and back deep to receive for the UW-LaCrosse Eagles, number 25, Harold Owens, who a year ago was among the leaders in the nation on kickoff returns. He will also start at running back, and he's joined back there by number 84, Dan Bridges, who will return kickoffs and punts for the Eagles. Both of those guys are pretty explosive.
Key right here is going to be, at least from a Westminster standpoint, for Dansu to get a good plant foot going into that football for the opening kickoff. Early field position, if it's good for LaCrosse, could set them on a good even tempo to open up the ball game. So this is really a pivotal point, the opening kickoff, obviously, of a national championship football game.
As you look at that playing surface, you may not be too impressed. It's not in tremendous shape, but a little later on in our broadcast, we're going to show you what it looked like yesterday, and you'd be amazed. There was no way they could have played football out here yesterday. The lines are yellow, the field is frozen, but I don't know if it matters that much right now because both of these 2 teams are ready to chase the national championship. Here we go. Dansu to kick it off, and Owens and Bridges back deep to receive. They won't get a chance at it, though. Picked up by the short man, Keith Dryden, and he gets it out past the 40-yard line, and so the Eagles will start with very good field position.
There again, football in these temperatures is kind of like kicking a sandbag. It is very solid, doesn't give much. Dansu got a good foot into the football, but slid a little bit going into the tee, a short kick, and LaCrosse has good field position right at midfield as we open up the first half.
Okay, the Eagles break out of their huddle. We'll get the starting offensive lineup to you after this play. They split Dan Bridges wide to the far side, and coming to the near side is Dean Washington. Split backs behind quarterback Dennis Gadel. That's Bridges in motion coming at you. And the give is to Owens. Owens with some room for about 9 or 10 yards.
Owens with a nice pickup that time. He's a strong, slashing runner. He makes the quick moves, and he got through the hole that time. A nice pickup and close to a first down, and now we see the signal. It is a first down. Owens is joined in the backfield by Kyle Reddy, and, of course, quarterback Dennis Gadel. Let's take a look at that again. Owens cutting the right side, a nice hole right through the Westminster defensive line, and he bursts forward for 10-yard pickup.
Okay, we'll try the offensive starting lineup after this play. First and 10 for the Eagles from what looks like the 43-yard line. They send Pete Hightower and Dean Washington wide to the near side. Same two backs set behind Gettle. This is Kyle Reddy for good yardage off left tackle.
Again, a nice pickup. Greg Hoare and Mike Sturm opening up a nice hole on the left side of the Westminster defense that time. And LaCrosse mixing it up. They like to go both to the right and left, and we may see some passing here, but not if the running game continues to work like it has in the first two plays.
Similar start to what we had a year ago in New Wilmington, where LaCrosse opened up the game running very effectively. Second down and 2 yards to go. The ball spotted on the 35-yard line. Washington and Bridges, now Bell Richard into the slot on the near side. They're going to keep it on the ground to Owens. And Owens has the first down easily. A good pickup, about 5 yards.
Owens crosses the 30, gets another first down. And again, the blocking of that offensive line, let's talk about it. You got Greg Hoare and Mike Sturm, 279 and 255 on the left side. Terry Strofe and Greg Daniels on the right side, the guard and tackle, 283 and 250. And you got a big guy right there in the middle calling the blocking calls on each offensive play. Gary Larson, the center for the LaCrosse Eagles. So far, the Eagles using that size advantage in their favor, doing a good job getting off the ball. Split wide receiver to the right is Hightower. Washington to this near side. 1st and 10. Ball spotted directly on the Titan 30-yard line. Here comes Reddy on the counter. Reddy's got 6, perhaps 7 yards, and LaCrosse doing a little bit of misdirection in the backfield, and right now the Titans aren't adjusting too well to that. That's going to be the key in this ball game. We've talked about several keys, but another one is going to be the team that can adjust. Sometimes an early drive can catch you by surprise, but if you can adjust quickly. You see Reddy take that one step to the right and then come back up the middle. He had a good hole. Second down and 4 yards to go from the Westminster 24-yard line. We're early here in the first quarter. LaCrosse, with the first possession of the game, has driven the ball effectively so far. Bridges coming in motion to this near side. Gadel up under center, and they're going to keep it on the ground again, and Owens fights forward for the first down. 6, 7, perhaps 8 more yards, and the last 2 weeks, Harold Owens has really come into his own, Gary. He didn't have a big year as far as huge statistic days, but the last 2 weeks he's been over 100 yards each time, and he's playing well when he needs to. Talking with some folks from LaCrosse, I guess his uncle had a lot to do with that, as we see Owens cutting through the middle, and again, good secondary help by the Titan defense, but they got to shore up those holes up front. 1st and 10 from the Westminster 17-yard line. LaCrosse with an impressive early first quarter drive. Reddy and Owens still the running backs behind Gadel, and that's Bell Richard coming in motion. Here's Reddy off tackle, still on his feet, picks up maybe 4 or 5 yards. Good lead block again that time by Terry Strofe. Taking a look at that Westminster defense up front, they're going with the four down lineman. Dan Shorts playing the right end, and Brian DiLorenzo at left end. Both kind of undersized for what you might think would be a defensive end. That's one thing the Titans have against them. They're outweighed by about 15 to 20 pounds on the average across the line here this afternoon. LaCrosse with a second down, and we'll call it 5 from the 12-yard line. Bridges splits left, and it looks like Hightower to the top of your screen. LaCrosse has yet to throw a pass so far in this drive. Here comes Owens, and he lost the ball, and I'm not sure who came out of there with it. Bubble on the inside. I think LaCrosse might have fallen on it. Looking at the reaction we're getting from the players here. Westminster did a nice job jamming up that play on the left side of the LaCrosse line. Owens never really is going to get a chance here to get started. You see good pursuit. A good drive off the ball by Westminster. Dan Shorts getting in there to make the final stop for the Titan defense that time. Also, Kevin Blazer in there to help out. Blazer playing with a broken leg this afternoon. I'll tell you more about that in a bit. Key play, 3rd down and about 3.5 to go. Ball spotted on the 11-yard line. Here's the pitch to Owens, and he's going to get the first down inside the 10. Loses the ball, and it was not dead, and the Titans have recovered deep in their own territory. Westminster picks up the ball on the 2-yard line, and a big mistake by LaCrosse here early in the game. Slippery field like this is going to be the problem throughout today's ball game. Craig Schweiger, you're going to see him slide in underneath here and get him by the ankle. But the big hit inside is the one that popped the ball loose. The Titans fall on it. Now a key drive stopped here and an opportunity for the Titan offense to get something going. Okay, Westminster deep in their own territory. They don't want to make a mistake here, but they're just happy to get the ball back. LaCrosse was in tremendous scoring position. That's Joe McKeah up under center. He'll run with 2 backs out of the I formation.
Yeah, they're going to pitch it in the end zone, and here comes their halfback, Brad Tokar, and he gets back to the line of scrimmage, or perhaps picks up 1 yard. Kind of a risky play deep in your own territory down there.
Titans mentioned as we were talking with them this week in practice, they're going to pull out some stops today. They're going to do some things. They're primarily a conservative ball club, but we're going to see some things that even Titan fans haven't seen at home at Memorial Field in a number of years.
As lacrosse and lacrosse fans know, though, when Westminster needs to, they can pull out the stops, and they can be an effective passing team, and they can open it up. Second down, we'll call it a long 9 to go. The ball on about the 2.5, maybe the 3 yard line. Again, the pitch. This time they try the right side. Here's Tokar, and he's hit and dropped at the line of scrimmage. Ball loose on the field, but I believe they're going to say that Tokar was down.
John Mirasola made the stop that time for lacrosse. Really came through to make the hit. Tokar trying to look for some room upfield. You'll see here as he's cutting to his right. And Mirasola comes streaming through and lays a hit on the shoulder and drags him down.
Again, Gary, it looks like Tokar is known as a good cutback runner, and I think field conditions like this are bound to hurt a cutback runner like him a little more than a slashing guy who likes to run between the tackles.
Yeah, he's not a real power back. He's just a good, like you mentioned, a good cutback runner, makes the turns quickly, and again, when you can't get your footing, even though the vision is there for the hole, sometimes you can't get to it in time.
Third down, 10 yards to go. Westminster still on its own 3 yard line, and they're gonna try the fake quick kick. The ball is complete, and it's going to be close to the first down. I believe it might be just short. We're going to have to wait and see. It depends where they spot the ball.
Matt Crooney that time was the receiver. Mark Aiken lining up as the punter. And Aiken took one stutter step there, looking as though he was going to punt, and then lofted it out to Crooney. And that's the first pass of the afternoon for the Titans, but not coming from quarterback Joe McKeon.
Boy, that's a play I'm sure lacrosse hasn't seen in a long, long time. Well designed, though, well conceived. I think he had the option there to kick it or pass it. And he had a man wide open here. We'd look at it again.
See him take the little stutter step and then the looping pass out to Crooney, and Crooney's going to roll out to his left, and he's just hoping for that first down marker. But I think he's a little bit short of it.
Nice job by John Mirasola getting over there and pursuing the play and holding him short. And I would expect this time Westminster probably will kick it out of there.
Aiken, not only the punter for Westminster, but also does punt returns. Kind of a rare position.
9 minutes and 3 seconds to go here in the first quarter at the NAIA Division II National Championship game. No score. We have had a lot of excitement early. Lacrosse took the opening drive down to the Westminster 2 yard line before fumbling, and Westminster now forced to punt after coming up short on 3 downs. Fritz Leinfelder back deep to receive for Lacrosse. Delay at the line of scrimmage. Now we're ready to go. Leinfelder standing back at the Westminster 42 yard line. It's a good snap. The Eagles coming hard. He just gets it off, and Leinfelder will let it hit, and it takes a good Westminster bounce. A beautiful kick inside the Lacrosse 40-yard line. That's exactly what the Titans needed in that situation.
Greg Hoare came through, had a lot of pressure on the punter that time for Westminster, Aiken, but couldn't quite get there in time. Excuse me, that was John Wiltshire cutting through that time, as I get my roster straight. But yeah, good bounce for the Titans, and Lacrosse now takes over back in their own territory.
Even with the good kick, Lacrosse with pretty good field position, and quite often when the weather is bad like this and the field isn't good, games like this are decided on field position, and so far Lacrosse has had the upper hand. First down and 10 yards to go from the 32-yard line. 2 split receivers to this near side, Washington and Bridges, and again, Bell Richard, the tight end on this left side. Here's Owens, the same play on which he fumbled, and he hung on to the ball this time, but it's not a heck of a lot more successful other than that.
Coming through was Todd Fedor that time for the Westminster Titans, and he wrapped him, and again, just trying to get some footing to drive him backward on the field. Good run that time by the Lacrosse running back, but Fedor able to bring him down, and actually going to be a loss of about a yard.
Pete Hightower coming in from the sideline with the play from head coach Roger Herring and offensive coordinator Larry Terry. Second down and 11 to go. The ball on the near hash mark. We're midway through the first quarter. No score between Lacrosse and Westminster. Gadel wants to throw. He's got time. Now he's going to run with it. Gadel with a good move, and he is just short of the first down. A pretty nice cutback considering the slippery field for Gadel, and LaCrosse will be faced with a 3rd and short.
Mike Ruby tried to make a stop on Gadel as he was coming out of there. You see Gadel dropping back here, looking downfield, and basically everyone pretty well covered. A good defensive effort that time in the secondary by the Titans. Gadel is going to tuck it under and roll out to his left here. And you see the missed tackle there, but Gadel slipping enough. And then eventually, it was Craig Schweiger coming in to finish off the tackle for the Titans.
3rd and 1 for the Eagles from their own 46-yard line. Another big play. We've had a few of them here early in the game. Straight ahead, Kyle Reddy. He has the first down. It looked for a second, Gary, as though somebody on the left side of the line might have gotten an early jump, but I don't see any penalty flags on the field.
No flags, and you know yellow's going to show up well on white here this afternoon. That's why they painted the yard lines yellow.
You were telling me before the ball game that a few months ago you were here for the Hall of Fame game. How are the conditions compared to now?
It's amazing how a few months can change things. It's about 90 degrees. I think I was in shorts and a T-shirt and getting a bit of a suntan on the far stands watching the Pro Hall of Fame game here a couple months ago, but certainly not the situation today. I don't think anybody will get much of a tan today.
Those folks you just saw down below us have about 16 T-shirts and 16 pairs of shorts on, just trying to maintain and keep warm. Gadel wants to throw. He's got Washington on the far side, and Washington has room. He's at the 40, the 35, the 30, all the way to the 25-yard line. A short little 5-yard down and out, and Dean Washington kept his footing on the sideline.
Andre Borowitz out there on the coverage that time slipped a little bit as Washington made his cut, and then Borowitz did everything he could to get out there. See Gadel dropping back and hitting Washington on the run. A nice pass that time. Borowitz stepping forward, just loses his footing and slips behind him. And then Pat Shannon and another Titan defender have to come up to help him out. Jeff Catan's right there to finish off the play, but a nice pickup that time by LaCrosse.
The Eagles first down and 10 at the Titan 23-yard line. Once again threatening here in the first quarter. 6 minutes to go. No score. Gadel, here comes the counter to Owens, and again, for the 3rd time in a row, Westminster is all over that play. That one's not working at all.
Dan Shorts coming through again. We talked about it earlier during pregame. The Titans a little bit outsized that is, along the line. But that's the situation they've been facing all year. Shorts fighting off the blocker, and you see him slip through to make the tackle.
It's hard to believe that a guy that small can play football in the defensive line, much less play it as well as he does. It's incredible.
He was a NAIA honorable mention All-America last year. And sometimes it's funny when these guys are getting off the buses, you hear the comments, you know, is this them or is this their JV squad? There's not a lot of size on the Titan squad.
2nd and 14. Here comes Owens. They're going to run him inside in the other direction that time, and he gets back to perhaps the original line of scrimmage, which will bring up a 3rd down and 10 yards to go. Another passing situation for LaCrosse.
Pat Shannon making the wrap that time for the Titans, and good secondary effort to help out on the run that time. LaCrosse, though, right now is grinding out a lot of time on the clock here in the first quarter. The running game's working well for them.
You get the feeling, though, that after that Owens fumble in that first drive, momentum maybe has shifted a little. Even though LaCrosse is moving the ball, the Titans seem a little bit more confident on defense the last at least 3 or 4 plays. Here we go, 3rd down and 10 from the 25-yard line. LaCrosse passing situation here. They'll send a wide receiver right and a wide receiver left. Gadel under pressure, steps out of there, throws over the middle, complete for a first down at the 10-yard line. A nice throw and an even nicer catch by Dan Bridges, and he showed some good hands on that play.
Bridges not only made a great catch, but he ran a great route that time. He did a nice job of splitting the defense. You see Gadel drop back, and of course Gadel here doing a nice job of stepping away from the defender. Shorts again coming in from behind. Gadel steps forward and fires, and here's his receiver splitting the defenders and coming up with a big catch.
The ball spotted just outside the 10. We'll call it the 11, so LaCrosse could pick up another first down without getting a touchdown. 1st and 10, Hightower, and it looks like Dean Washington split out left. Everybody else in tight. Here's Reddy up the middle. Reddy inside the 10, inside the 5, down to the 1-yard line, and that should be another first down, and Reddy came very close to getting it in the end zone.
He's got a nice driving style about him, keeps those thighs chopping. And LaCrosse right now knocking on the door of the Titan defense.
All of our Westminster fans out there will remember a number 34 for the Eagles. It's not this guy, though. Ted Protaski, the honorable or the All-American running back, graduated after last season, and you'd think a guy would be a little hesitant about stepping into Phil Protaski's shoes wearing number 34, but Reddy has stepped in and done an outstanding job.
Done a nice job, definitely. And he's got a couple of years ahead of him yet. I'm sure the Eagles are happy to have him in the backfield.
Talking to head coach Roger Herring earlier in the weekend, he said that Reddy was a bit of a surprise. He's only a sophomore, and Herring knew that Reddy was going to do a good job, but he had no idea he was going to come up with some of the big games that he did throughout the course of the year. That really relieved some of the pressure from Harold Owens going into the season. First and goal for the Eagles from the 1-yard line. Another opportunity for LaCrosse to score here with 3:50 to go in the first quarter. Straight ahead, Reddy in the end zone. I believe he is. Yes, he is. A touchdown, and LaCrosse gets a second chance to score, and this time they cash in. With 3:45 to go, the Eagles take a 6-0 lead.
Just straight ahead blocking that time. Gary Larson, Mike Sturm pushing into that Titan defense. And the size allowing them to get that progression. You just see the surge there by the offensive line, and Reddy takes it in for the touchdown.
If ever there was a 1-yard plunge, that would be it. 3:45 to go. Chris Schumacher in to attempt the extra point, and this is a key kick. The ball's down, and the kick is up, and it's good. With 3:45 to go here in the first quarter, we have our first score. We will be back with more of the NAIA Championship football game after this. It's LaCrosse 7 and Westminster 0. I think it's going pretty well.
The people of Lawrence County are just getting on their feet. And you know who's here to help them? First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania. Since then, we've grown into Lawrence County's largest bank with the biggest interest in our community, with more services, more employees. In fact, our deposits are still loaned locally to help our area prosper. So when you need a strong partner, join the tradition. You'll feel right at home at First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania.
We're back at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Late in the first quarter, LaCrosse has just scored to take a 7-0 lead in the NAIA Division II championship football game. I'm Jim Sosha. I forgot my name. It's getting so cold. Along with Gary Swanson from KPIC Radio in Sharon, Pennsylvania. I'm from WXOW TV in LaCrosse, Wisconsin. We're happy to be bringing this championship game to you. Chris Schumacher kicks off, and it's going to come to the up back. That is Mike Stevens for Westminster, and the Titans, for the first time this game, are going to start with pretty good field position.
Stevens with a decent return that time. Again, the wall that he was hoping would set up in front of him, a lot of those guys are just having trouble getting traction out there. The Titans did practice in conditions similar to this throughout the weekend in Wilmington, and of course boarding the bus late last night to get ready for today's game. But right now, their big problem is just getting traction and getting their game going, because their game is a speed game. It's not going to be a power game against a team the size of LaCrosse.
First and 10 from the 34-yard line. That's Dansu splitting wide at the near side. They're going to option to the far side, and that's Tokar. He's got a little bit of room, but that hole closes in a hurry. Number 51, John Mirasola, really closed the ground quickly.
Mirasola read the play nicely. The defensive end stepping up in there and doing his job of just containing the quarterback. Makia with the pitch for Westminster. And then Mirasola making the stop out there. Tokar only picking up a yard that time. Westminster not finding much room to the outside.
The Titans have yet to try to run inside. I think they've run 4 plays so far, and they've all gone either wide left or wide right. Second down and about 10 and a half, well, we'll call it 9 yards to go for the first down. They spot it on the 35-yard line. Joe Makia up under center. Play action, wants to throw, and it is caught, but out of bounds out there. Dave Foley, I think he made the catch, but he did not get 1 foot down in bounds.
You're going to hear his name a lot more this afternoon. Foley and Makia, of course, were the combination that ended up making the key touchdown in the championship game last year. McKee, with some stretched ligaments in his thumb, had a nice ball that time, just a little bit far out of bounds. Foley with a nice grab, but it's all for naught. It comes back and now a third.
Gary, is McKee at 100% going into this game?
He took some snaps at practice yesterday. Again, he stretched some ligaments in his thumb against Central Washington last week. He had some trouble grabbing a ball, but they seem to think that he'd be able to go the distance this afternoon.
3rd down and 9 for the Titans from their own 35-yard line. LaCrosse jumps, and we've got a penalty flag. McKee wants to throw again. He's got all kinds of time. He's throwing long, and it is batted away by Fritz Leinfelder on a nice defensive play, but we've got a flag downfield as well. I think they're going to call Leinfelder for interference.
We'll have to keep an eye on the situation there, but I think he might have had his arm on his back going down the field. If that's the case, the official right there on top of the call, of course, I think we might have had the defense offsides in the early going. At any rate, I think we've got a free play for the Titans.
A very nice job by the Westminster offensive line that time, giving McKee all kinds of time to spot a receiver downfield. He had all day to throw that one. Well, there you see it. Offsides against LaCrosse. They'll decline that one. They will, however, accept the interference penalty, and that will give the Titans a 1st down, and it should move the ball very close to Eagle territory.
McKee rolling to his left that time, having to throw across his body a little bit, but he does possess a very, very strong arm.
We're both sides on the defense. That penalty is refused. We have pass interference on the defense. That penalty is accepted 15 yards from the previous spot and an automatic 1st down.
He sounds a little cold, Gary, doesn't he?
It's hard to move those jaws when the wind is freezing them shut down there.
Get our referee a heater down there. It's cold on that field.
Those guys got it tough. They're not in there hitting each other and getting numb. The guys along the line kind of forget the cold after a while.
Okay, the Titans on the move. 2:42 to go here in the 1st quarter. LaCrosse with a 7-0 lead, but Westminster starting to move the ball. They moved it to midfield. Out of the shotgun, McKee wants to throw again. Loops it out here and a little too high for his intended receiver, Chris Osborne, on the near side, but I believe we have another penalty on the play.
We mentioned Westminster going to pull out the stops today, and there you see it. That's the first time they've run the shotgun all season. I talked with Coach Fusco just before today's ball game, and he said the reason they put that in, again, was because of the ligament problem with Joe's hand. They wanted to give quarterback Joe McKee a little bit softer touch and not force him to take those quick snaps under center all day, so they decided to put in the shotgun, but that time a little bit wide outside with a pass.
Illegal motion against Westminster, and LaCrosse decides to take the play, which was an incompletion. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 10 yards to go with 2:37 to go. LaCrosse on top here in Canton, Ohio, in the NAIA Division II championship game, 7-0. I think it's taken both of these teams a little while maybe to adjust to the footing as well. It seems like they're getting a little more comfortable on the field. They know what they can and cannot do at this point.
Yeah, still in the 1st quarter, both teams are still feeling each other out a little bit, getting an idea as what they can and can't do, like you say, and learning to adjust here for the latter part of the ball game. Titans right now, though, trailing by 7.
It's Dave Foley in motion coming toward you, and again, Titans going to throwing long, and it is caught at the 10-yard line at the 5, and falling down deep in LaCrosse territory is Chris Osborne, and it's one of those cases where sometimes an underthrown ball might be a more effective pass than one that's thrown right on the money.
McKee got hit on his arm as he unleashes the ball. Dropping back here, he got pressure from his backside, and a defender coming in just as he's about to release. I actually didn't get there in time, but I think he might have heard him coming. And a long pass down the field, Osborne keeping his feet, but then as he tried to turn it upfield, just couldn't get the traction and went down.
Actually, that was pretty good coverage by Hayroth for LaCrosse, but he just lost his footing down there, and the Titans are in business. 1st down and goal from the 10-yard line, and again, they want to throw, and this one is overthrown. The intended receiver in the flat over there would be Brad Tokar. That'll bring up a 2nd down and goal.
McKee seeming to be a little bit strong on his touch today in the early going. Again, trying to find the grip on that football and get it rolling off his hand properly. Maybe overcompensating right now for the ligament problem.
Back to that long pass completion for Westminster. Number 31, Tim Hayroth, was the defender for the Eagles. He's getting a start today because senior cornerback Preston Pointer last week in the playoff game against Baker University dislocated his elbow. He will not be able to play, so Hayroth is in there, and he's going to go the distance. 2nd down and goal for Westminster from the 10-yard line. Here's McKee again on that sprint out under pressure. Now he's going to pull it down and run for about 2 yards. McKee again had some good time, but nobody open in the defensive backfield.
A lot of pressure from behind that time. Looked like Mike Bright getting a lot of pressure on McKee as he was rolling out. And good secondary coverage again by LaCrosse. McKee seeing that, deciding to cut around the defender. And Bright just keeps the pursuit coming and eventually catches him from behind and drags him down.
You see McKee going back in the pocket there and how gingerly he has to try to move around back there. He can't actually cut to the outside. I think it's a good move by the Titans to sprint him out, though, because it's preventing the Eagles from really getting a good charge at him straight in the pocket. 3rd and goal, ball still spotted on the, we'll call it the 8-yard line. The Titans trying to get in to tie this football game up. Straight back in the pocket this time. McKee under pressure throws, and it is deflected and knocked down incomplete. Clint Byer from the defensive backfield stepped in to make a nice play, and the Titans are faced with a field goal attempt.
Kind of a tough situation that time for McKee. Tokar cutting across towards the opposite side, and Byer reading the play nicely, stepping up to knock the ball away and break it up there. And you see now a try for 3 here by the Titans.
Rob Dansu, they will spot the ball at the 15-yard line, making it a 25-yard attempt into what looks like a crosswind. The ball is up, and, well, it never even actually got up. The kick is no good. I hesitate to say it was blocked. I don't think he ever really got that one off.
I think he got his foot a little bit high on the football that time. Again, it's so important for a kicker to get that plant foot down before he follows through. And Dansu isn't exact. He's not directly a straight-on kicker.
Let's take a look from the end zone, and let's see what happened. Well, he didn't look to slip and fall down. I just don't think he ever got a good piece of the ball.
It's really tough for a soccer-style kicker to get that plant foot. A straight-on kicker has the advantage on a slippery field like this. And
okay,
Dansu losing the plant foot.
With 1 minute 9 seconds to go, LaCrosse still in front, 7-0. They will take over on their own 20-yard line, and the Eagles get a break there. A nice-looking drive, though, by the Titans. Their offense seems to be in gear now. Dennis Gadel still the quarterback. Kyle Reddy, Harold Owens in the backfield, and as he's done all game, Troy Bell-Richard into the tight end spot on the near side. That is Kyle Reddy into the secondary for big yardage, and he is leveled. And I mean, he is leveled by number 34 out of the defensive backfield for Westminster. Cantanzarite drilled him. First down, though, for the Eagles. Watch the hit here.
Big hole coming through. Catanzarite really nailing him at the end. But a big pickup again for Wisconsin-LaCrosse. They've got their running game, especially on that right side of the line, opening up some holes for them.
1st and 10. They spot the ball on the 32-yard line. And they're going to try it again, and Reddy this time picks up about 3, maybe 4 yards on the play.
Kevin Blazer helping make the stop that time for the Titans. I mentioned earlier, he's playing with a broken leg here this afternoon. It's a type of break in his leg where, according to the trainers, he can't do any further damage to it. And they've got it braced, so it's not the type of thing that creates pain by putting weight on it. It's just him bearing with the pain of the actual break inside throughout the game.
Throughout the course of the ballgame, we'll tell you about a couple more players who maybe shouldn't be playing in this game, but it's really hard to keep these kids off the field when you got a chance to play for the national championship. 2nd down and 5 to go from the LaCrosse 38-yard line. Here's Reddy again, 3rd straight time, and good second effort gets him the first down out to the 45-yard line.
Another good effort. It was Catanzarite again finally making the saving tackle that time. LaCrosse doing a great job of getting into that defensive backfield. You see him hit the line here quickly, pop through the hole. Catanzarite coming up to make the wrap and the tackle.
Well, that is the end of the first quarter here. We played 15 minutes of football, and it's been a good one so far. We will be back with more of the NAIA Championship football game after this. It is LaCrosse 7 and Westminster College 0.
Hi, I'm Don DeMarco from Titan Chevrolet, the home of champions. I'd like to take this time to congratulate Coach Joe Fusco, his staff, and the Westminster Titans for their record-setting year, and as they go for their 4th national championship. Good luck, guys.
Go for it.
Titan Chevrolet, 138 South Market Street, New Wilmington. Radio and television station managers survey nationally listed 2 prerequisites for future broadcasters: practical experience and a good liberal arts education. That's why Westminster College graduates do well in the competitive broadcasting job market. For a tour of Westminster's fine broadcasting facilities and to learn more about the value of a liberal arts education for future broadcasters, call the Westminster College Admissions Office. Experience and liberal arts await the future broadcaster at Westminster College.
There you see the score here at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio, on a crisp winter day. I think winter has a
pleasant way of
or is
putting
it still
crisp.
fall? I don't know. If it is still fall, it's maybe a cool fall day and a crisp winter day, but we're enjoying ourselves here. It's not that bad. We got our little space heater going in the booth, and I guess it's better than being out in the stands with those folks who are freezing down there. Here we go. First play of the second quarter. LaCrosse with the ball on its own 45-yard line, 1st and 10. Here comes Harold Owens. Harold Owens still on his feet for about 9, maybe 10 yards.
Owens just keeps those legs driving, and it was a good second effort that time. He's hit by 2 Titan defenders in the defensive backfield. But manages to work forward and pick up the first down. Spinning backwards a little bit there, but picking up the yardage, that's the key.
Take a look at this one from the end zone, and let's see how Harold Owens squeezes the football when he's going to get hit this time. You'll see he only had one hand on it, but it was a good run.
1st and 10 Eagles.
It was Owens' fumble deep in Westminster territory early in the game, which prevented LaCrosse from scoring on its first possession. LaCrosse did come back with a touchdown later, and that's where we stand right now, 7-0. 1st and 10 from the 45-yard line of Westminster. Gadel gives the ball straight ahead to Kyle Reddy, and Westminster said nothing doing there. They did a good job shutting that run down.
Gadel with good play action that time, but the Titan defense had the play well read and shut down the inside.
That's Canton. Among the tacklers on the play.
2nd down and 10 yards to go for the Eagles. Just early here in the second quarter, 7-0 football game.
2nd down on the
In the long-awaited rematch for the NAIA Division II championship game. I think both coaches are glad the game's finally here because they're sick of hearing about the rematch.
I want to get this one over with.
Here's Gadel back in the pocket, and he'll throw to Dean Washington. Thrown a little low and incomplete, bringing up a 3rd down.
Andre Borowitz out there in the defense that time for the Titans. Right behind him, but you see Gadel rolling back. Gadel with a nice ball, again, but just a little bit behind the receiver. And had he come up with that catch, I think Borowitz might have had good opportunity to lay a good hit on him, but again, the slippery conditions are going to be a factor throughout the ballgame.
Great camera work again by the folks here at Image Video who have been so kind to help us out with this production. They've handled the entire technical end, making our job pretty easy, and we appreciate all their help. 3rd down, 10 yards to go for LaCrosse from the Westminster 45-yard line. 2 split receivers to the near side, and Gadel wants to throw. Under pressure, he's got Bridges, and Bridges juggles but hangs on for the first down.
Good concentration by Bridges that time. And Gadel taking a pop after releasing the football. He had a lot of pressure. Pat Shannon was coming in from the outside. You'll see number 42 pop into the screen here. But a good block to push him away. Gadel gets the pass away. And again, Bridges with good concentration, able to come up with a football before going down.
11 yards and another first down for LaCrosse, moving the ball to the 30-yard line of Westminster. 13:32 to go here in the second quarter, and LaCrosse threatening again. The 3rd time they've threatened so far in the first half. Reddy and Owens in the backfield, and Gadel gives it to Reddy straight ahead, and he's got more room, and again, good second effort by Kyle Reddy, close to another LaCrosse first down.
Titan defense asking some questions, I'm sure, right now. LaCrosse is really getting those holes opened up. A good pickup here again by Reddy. Look at the hole he has to go through there. And actually, I think he might have been tripped up by his own player that time. Gary Larson, working offensively, might have caught him with his ankle, and he actually slipped and went down.
Give Reddy 9 yards, bring it up a 2nd down and 1. Washington and Bridges go to the top of your screen, and this time they split the backs in the straight T formation behind Gadel. Owens gets it, short yardage, but it's good enough for a first down. Picks up 2, maybe 3 yards.
That time it was a good defensive surge by the Titans. That's what they need to do if they want to shut down the running game, is to surge into that offensive line and stop that.
Okay, we have for you the official first quarter stats, and you can see the first quarter dominated offensively by LaCrosse. 89 yards rushing, 39 passing, a total of 127. Westminster with that one big pass play really being their only real productive play, 51 yards in total, and you can see the time of possession weighted heavily in favor of LaCrosse. First down and 10 again for the Eagles, and this time they go in the counter to Owens. Owens to the outside, still on his feet, needs a block. He gets inside the 10, inside the 5, maybe to the 4-yard line, and Harold Owens did a nice job waiting for his block on the near side.
You see that slashing style of Owens. He got to the outside, waiting for the block, inside, tried to turn it upfield, and made a nice little juke move that time on Andre Borowitz. Borowitz able to hang with him and bring him down for the Titans, but again, LaCrosse knocking on the door at the 5-yard line.
With that slashing, juking style that Owens has, I think it's kind of difficult to know which body part to try to grab to tackle. He's going in about 16 different directions, and that's got to be tough on a defensive back trying to come up and make the stop.
They tell you to go for the hips, but when that much is moving, it's tough to find them.
First and goal from LaCrosse from the Westminster 5-yard line. Same formation behind Gadel. And Reddy gets the ball off tackle, fighting toward the goal line. I don't think he got there. Dan Bridges walks back toward the huddle and says we've got about this much to go, about a yard.
Defense for Westminster that time trying to make a stand, but down close to the goal line once again.
Head coach Roger Herring, the Eagles head coach, his 21st year on the sidelines. And, you know, whether it's a national championship game or a game in the middle of the season, Roger never gets all that excited. It's just another game, and that's kind of the way his team plays. They never get too high or too low, and I think Westminster's the same way. Here's a give up the middle. LaCrosse says they are in the end zone, and the officials agree. LaCrosse gets 6 to take a 13-0 lead here midway through the second quarter. Kyle Reddy picks up the touchdown on another 1-yard plunge.
And they followed their big guy on the line, Terry Stroh, 6'3", 283 pounds. You'll see him come right off him, right over the guard. You see Stroh clearing things out over there, and he just goes right over top of him, over the goal line for the touchdown. Stroh, we understand, has definite possibilities in the NFL.
Okay, here's Schumacher in again to attempt the point. The snap is high. Bridges does a nice job of getting the ball down, and Schumacher connects with 11:26 to go here in the first half. We will be back with more of the NAIA championship football game after this. It's LaCrosse 14, Westminster nothing.
Christmas comes but once a year, a time for friends and family dear.
Give the gifts they're wishing for.
You'll find them at your Big Well store. The holidays are close at hand,
and shopping time is fleeting.
So hurry to your Big Well.
From all of us, season's greetings.
Big Wheel says, good luck, Titan. Today's championship game is made possible in part by Newcastle Orthopedic Associates. Orthopedics and orthopedic surgery, total joint, sports medicine, reconstructive, and arthroscopy. Doctors Gerald H. Weiner, John M. Corbett, Michael Larkin, and Donald E. Bittner, certified by the American Board of Orthopedic Surgeons, 2602 Wilmington Road in Newcastle.
An impressive first half performance by the University of Wisconsin-LaCrosse. With 11:26 to go here in quarter number 2, they have jumped out to a 14-0 lead. And Gary, the Titans don't seem to be keeping up with those running plays, those little counter plays.
They seem almost like a step behind on defense, and we talked about it a little bit during our break there. It seems that they're just being a little overcautious on the defensive end of things because of that unbalanced backfield that LaCrosse is throwing at him. We'll see what they can do offensively here.
Mark Aiken with lots of room on the far side, and he almost scored it through there. Had he gotten through that hole, he would have been gone. A pretty good kickoff by Schumacher, but a nice job of blocking the return by Westminster. So again, they're going to get pretty good field position here to start this drive.
Mark Aiken in the regular season was ranked 4th in the NAIA Division II in kickoff returns. He doesn't have a lot of speed, but he's a lot like Tokar, the other back for Westminster. He's got a great deal of vision and can find the seam and usually get up through it. Right now, though, they need to get some offense generating.
Westminster trying to get it going. They had a nice drive last time they had the ball, but that ended when they botched a field goal attempt. They've got it 1st and 10 from their own 40-yard line. 2 backs in the eye behind Joe McKeah, and Tokar's going to get the call, and he picks up 3, maybe 4 yards. He was about a step away from getting to the outside before John Mirasola brought him down. You can see why a guy like John Mirasola last week was the defensive player of the game in LaCrosse's win against Baker University. He's been all over the field.
In the shadow of this, certainly a very mystical place in a sense. It's the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and both of these teams, even the coaches, talking about how excited the players were to be playing in a place where the best of the NFL are recognized day in and day out year-round.
2nd down and about 7 for the Titans. Ball on their own 43-yard line. McKeah taking a lot of time up under center, and he's going to give it to the up man that time, and that's Tokar. Nice little run there. We got a penalty flag on the field. I think we may have a face mask.
Tokar was dragging someone, looked like the old Husky dragging a sleigh behind him as driving John Mirasola right behind him. You see Tokar slip in the line. Mirasola wraps him around the leg and just kind of drags him along there for a couple of extra yards.
Face mask.
And as you hear the call of face mask on the field, and that's going to be a bit of a critical one really against LaCrosse, because they're doing a nice job of stuffing down the Titan offense. And Tokar getting a little bit of a pickup and now a bit of a momentum boost as well with the penalty.
That's our referee, Nick Define, making the call down on the field. So that is a very big play. Titans now in pretty good position here on the LaCrosse 35-yard line with 10:23 to go here in the first quarter. LaCrosse leading 14-0, but the Titans again are on the move. McKeah on play action. He wants to go long, throws over the middle, and it is slightly overthrown and incomplete. We had a little contact on the plays. Mike Beggy got hit, but the officials are going to say the ball was a little too high and not really catchable.
And Beggy can leap pretty high, but that ball is thrown a little bit high again by McKeah. He had a lot of time, though. The Titan offensive line did a nice job of giving him time behind the line. LaCrosse, their defensive backfield, we heard about them all season. They've got a strong secondary. They're missing a few guys, though, this afternoon.
Right. Kasey Campbell is in the game. He has a broken finger. It was broken in last week's game in 6 places, but they've got a cast on it. He's number 28. He is in there, and he is playing it. Of course, we told you earlier, Preston Pointer is out for this game with a dislocated elbow, so they're a little short back there, but they've had good depth throughout the season, and they're going to try to overcome the injuries again today. There's a pass to the far side. It is incomplete, intended over there for Chris Osborne. He got a little shot in the back, but again, kind of the same deal where they're going to say the ball was not catchable.
Yeah, Tim Hayroth on the defense that time, as McKeah, again with time, firing to the sideline. Too far out in front of Osborne. Hayroth right there on the defense as well. So the Titans now facing a big 3rd down play. This is what LaCrosse has wanted to do. They want to take them out of their game plan. You stop them on the first 2 downs, and they have to play the passing game on the 3rd down.
Hayroth, a sophomore defensive back from Lodi, Wisconsin. Oh, another big play. Here we go. 10 minutes to go. 14-0 LaCrosse. It is 3rd down and 10 for Westminster from the Eagle 35-yard line. Another passing situation. McKeah sets up the screen, and he's got Tokar with some room. Trying to cut back to the near side. Tokar still on his feet. A nice job and a 1st down. A 13-yard game. A very well-executed play.
Titans really set it up nicely, flooding everybody to the right-hand side and then coming back to Tokar on the left. And Tokar with a good second effort. You see McKeah rolling to his right, offensive line moving to the right, and then he comes back to the left side to Tokar. He's got a blocker in front of him. Tokar cuts back inside of him, and then this final 4 yards is all Brad Tokar for the 1st down.
So a key 3rd down conversion keeps the drive alive. Ball spotted on the LaCrosse 23-yard line. Dave Foley comes out here, split to the near side. He's one-on-one with Hayroth. That's a matchup that I think Westminster might try to exploit. Here's the play fake, the pump, and McKeah gonna throw over the middle, and it is almost intercepted and then almost caught.
Brad Tokar coming out of the backfield that time. He was the release man. They did want to take advantage of that one-on-one situation on the near side of the field.
Coming up on the coverage, you're going to see the guy we just talked about, number 28, Kasey Campbell. You know, he might be able to cover still, but he's going to have a tough time catching anything with the big plaster Paris cast on his hand. Unless it's going to hit him right in the numbers, I think Kasey's going to have a hard time catching anything, but he did make a nice play there.
John Wilsius was the guy sneaking through behind the line that time to put pressure on McKeah, forcing him to throw to the release man that time.
This time Foley splits to the left. He's picked up by number 43, Leinfelder. 2nd down and 10 from the 24. Short little out pattern over there. It is complete, and picking up about 6 yards on the far side is Mike Beggy, 5'10", 175-pounder, who we talked about. He has really come into his own last year. I know when the LaCrosse saw Westminster in the championship game last year, Foley was pretty much the main threat, but this guy's had a good season, you say.
Beggy has really become the top receiver for the Titans this past season. Like you say, Foley was the big man throughout last year, had the big year. Foley's had a respectable year this year as well, but Beggy seems to be the guy they go to in clutch situations, and this is one right now, a critical 3rd down play for Westminster.
Same formation with Norcutt and Tokar in the backfield behind McKeah, and McKeah wants to throw, and he's got Beggy, and Beggy's got the 1st down, and then some, and we've got a late hit on LaCrosse. Kasey Campbell came in after Beggy was out of bounds and chopped him down, so that's going to be a penalty in addition to the gain, which should put the ball at about the 2.5 yard line.
Take a look at it again. Same play as we saw just one play earlier, and they hit Beggy. Beggy slipping down the sideline, and he is out of bounds and then gets the pop afterwards. But for a defender, it's tough to stop down there as well. You got to give them both a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But it's going to...
Personal foul on the defense, half the distance, automatic 1st down.
Again, it'll be a costly one against LaCrosse. As you hear, automatic 1st down, and the Titans now have to get it in from inside the 5 here on 4 plays.
Yeah, I think that's a play that you have to call. You have to throw the flag there. But it is kind of tough, especially with the yellow lines on the side here on the field, and there's some glare. It's tough to stop, but he was definitely about 2 feet out of bounds on the play. So that brings up a 1st and goal for the Titans. So for the 2nd straight time, they have the ball in scoring position. Everybody in tight. They're going to run out of the wishbone. And they're going to give the ball to the deep back out of the formation, Matt Crooney, and he's close to the end zone, getting inside the 2, maybe to the 1.
Crooney and Norcutt have kind of switched off with each other throughout the season at the fullback position. Crooney had an injury earlier in the season, and Norcutt took over, but he has battled back in and got his starting fullback position back by earning it. And that time earning some yardage for the Titans.
Take another look at that play, and he does a nice job. Got hit at the 4 yard line and picked up 2 or 3 additional yards on some nice extra effort.
Down near the goal line, the Titans need to go about 2 yards for the touchdown.
Again, they'll run out of the wishbone. 2nd and goal for Westminster, trying to get back in the ball game, trailing it 14-0 midway through the 2nd quarter. McKeah, play action. Still looking. He's got a man, and he has a touchdown for Westminster. The Titans are on the board. That's number 7, Dave Foley, with the touchdown catch. A nice bit of patience there by Joe McKeah. He didn't have a man. He waited for Foley to come free, and he threw a dart over the middle, and it's a 14-6 ball game.
That's been the story on McKeah all season, as they say he plays better when he's under pressure. The Titans right now, before this play, were down 14-0. McKeah taking time, waiting for someone to break open. He sees Foley cutting back across the grain in the back of the end zone and hits him for the dive and grab. Touchdown for the Titans, now an important extra point.
Rob Dansu, the snap. The ball is deflected, but it just makes it through. It is good. The kick is good with 8:25 to go.
They talk about the mystique of Westminster sometimes, and right now LaCrosse might be asking some questions. They got a hand on that, but it still managed to go through the uprights. Dansu, again, it's like kicking a sack of potatoes. That ball is just hard as a rock. Santorio got the hold down and the tip, but it still goes through the uprights, and that helps out Westminster's cause. Now they trail by 7.
This game just got very interesting now. Now it looks like the Westminster offense is running on all cylinders, and I think, you know, most people would have come here before the game and said, hey, we're going to have a low-scoring football game. Nobody can run around, but we've played a little more than 20 minutes of football. We've already got 21 points on the board.
We've seen a different offense for the Titans so far. We've seen a shotgun formation, we've seen a wishbone formation, and we may see a lot more before the afternoon is out. LaCrosse, as long as they keep the running game going, right now their key concern is keeping the ball away from Westminster. They did a nice job of it early in the first quarter, and I'm sure on this drive here they'd like to do the same thing again. A long churning drive down the field and hopefully end up with 6 at the end of it.
It's the NAIA Division II Championship game. 8:25 to go here in the first half. LaCrosse leading Westminster 14-7, and Dansu set to kick it off. Harold Owens and Danny Bridges deep to receive, and Dansu hits this one straight down the middle, and it's going to be taken by the up back for LaCrosse, and he loses the football, and it is still loose, and Westminster says they have it. Let's wait and see. There's a whole lot of fighting going on underneath that pile right now.
And it's not exactly clearing off either.
It looked like Tom Mischel, number 35 for LaCrosse, is the guy who caught the ball and returned it. It is Westminster's football.
See who the guy is that springs it loose here. And the ball actually squirting out of there on the tackle. Pete Casciavera was the guy who knocked him down, and the ball squirting out of there.
And we think number 91, Rob Labar, is the guy who came out of there with the ball. We're not saying he's the man who recovered it, but he's the one who had it last, and that's what counts. So Westminster, with a big break here, gets the ball 1st and 10 from the 37-yard line of LaCrosse, and going to put some more pressure on him. Splitting 2 receivers out to the near side, the bottom of your screen. But they'll run it straight ahead to Tokar. Good yardage, gets through for about 4, maybe 5 yards before he's gang tackled there.
John Mirasola again making the wrap. He's been in on a lot of the defensive plays today for LaCrosse. And he's no small guy either. 6 foot, 231 from a high school by the name of Brookfield. And oddly enough, we have a Brookfield that's about 10 minutes from Westminster. I don't think it's the same high school, but same name there.
It's a small, small world, Gary. 2nd down and 6. They spot it on the 32 of LaCrosse. This time they send the 2 wide receivers to the top of your screen. Tokar and Crooney. This time Tokar's going to get it, and he got the ball, but not much more. John Wilsius, number 76, in to make the hit, and gets a little help from Sean Starks, number 86, in that LaCrosse defensive line, trying to get the fans who made the trip here a little fired up, and this is the kind of play to do it.
You see the 2 guys pulling out that time for Westminster, getting out a little bit ahead that time. LaCrosse slipping behind the seam and making the stop.
7 minutes, 10 seconds to go. 14-7 LaCrosse leading here. NAIA Division II Championship game. 3rd down, 7 yards to go. McKee straight back. Looking. Foley with a nice catch close to the 1st down. Very nice grab by Foley on the far side, and I think he got the 1st down.
Looked like he was past the marker when he made the reception. It all depends on situation where he went out of bounds, because he actually had to come back a little bit for it. Again, McKee dropping back as we hear the cheering in the background. It is a 1st down. But Foley with the grab, you see he's ahead of the marker when he makes the grab, then is knocked back. A lot of hard hitting going on in the field here.
While the 1st quarter belonged to LaCrosse, the 2nd quarter has been basically almost all Westminster. They've had the ball a majority of the 9 minutes that have been played here. 1st and 10, Titans with the ball on the 26-yard line. Again, trying to stretch out that field, splitting a couple of receivers to the bottom of your screen. Here's a give to Tokar. Through the left side for about 8 or 9 yards. And again, Tokar starting to warm up a little bit.
I'm starting to wonder if the sun is maybe warming up this field a little bit. It seems like they're getting better traction than we saw earlier in the 1st quarter. And the speed game getting to go a little bit. Tokar, McKee with a backside handoff, and you see him cut up through the middle, just squirting between the defenders, and that's the Brad Tokar that Westminster fans are familiar with throughout the season. He's got the speed to hit the hole quickly and that good vision.
They give Tokar officially 7 yards on the play, bringing up a 2nd down and 3 yards to go from the 19-yard line. Foley to the left, Osborne to the top of your screen. They run out of the eye and play action, and they're going to throw it again, and that's complete inside the 10-yard line. A beautiful route by Chris Osborne on the top of your screen. He went down about 13 yards and just turned it to the sideline. He was wide open, and Westminster has a guy who can put it on the money. He's been doing it all year long. He's been doing it his entire career, actually.
McKee dropping back. He's never lost in a Titan uniform, and he hits Osborne for the reception. Titans line Foley that time up on the left side, and kind of as a decoy, I think, on a passing down there, expecting to go into the end zone. And the Titans take advantage of it, get Osborne on a nice down and out, and now a 1st down for Westminster.
1st and goal from the 6.5-yard line. 5 minutes, 37 seconds to go. Westminster trying to go in for the tying touchdown. Throw over the middle, and I think we're going to get a penalty flag. Foley, the intended receiver, but Hayroth hit him, and he hit him a little early. Tim Hayroth, the sophomore from Lodi, got there about a split second too early.
Good camera work here as they pick this one up. You'll see the receiver cutting across, and then you see Hayroth with the bump. And again, I don't know how much the footing is a situation there, but nonetheless, it's going to be an interference call, and that benefits Westminster again.
LaCrosse bringing in its short yardage defense. It'll be a half the distance to the goal call, bringing up another first down for the Titans.
Been really a couple of key mistakes on this drive by LaCrosse that have helped out Westminster. Of course, the fumble would set it up, and a couple of penalties which have given them first downs, keeping the drive alive for Westminster, giving them more of an opportunity to get it into the end zone.
LaCrosse going to take a timeout. You can see some of the fans here getting fired up. It's 14-7, and right now, head coach Roger Herring for LaCrosse, I think, took that timeout to say, hey, fellas, the momentum of this game is turning. Let's get it together.
I think he just wants to get his players' heads back at the frame of mind that he'd like to keep them in. I'm sure just that calm, cool, collected self that he is along the sidelines. He wants to get them back out there and say, look, guys, we've been playing the type of football all season that got us here. Let's keep that in mind. Let's just get out there and play the style and do the reads and follow through on what we should be defensively. Right now, they're getting a little bit worked up. We've seen a few words exchanged after a couple of plays, and a few mistakes, and it's helped out Westminster. They need to concentrate more on getting back to the game plan.
So far, the NAIA Division II championship game has been all that it was billed as being all week long. It's been a beauty. I'm Jim Socia from WXOW Television in LaCrosse, and with me in the broadcast booth today, Gary Swanson from WPIC Radio in Sharon, Pennsylvania. Gary, we're really happy you could join us. I hope you're having a good time.
Appreciate the opportunity, and anytime I get to see a football game, whether it's announcing it or seeing it, I'll be here. Somebody says they're giving me a free ticket, so I appreciate the opportunity very much.
Okay, it is first and goal for the Titans, and again, like they did on their last scoring drive, they run out of the wishbone inside the 5-yard line. 3 backs behind Joe McKeah. Titans trying to tie this thing up. Tokar with it. Tokar with a touchdown.
He really took a hit at the goal line, but apparently had the ball over before he took the shot. Excellent defensive effort by LaCrosse that time. The Titans really spread out the defense, but Tokar able to get it over the goal line for the touchdown.
Brad Tokar, not known as really a power runner, known as more of a finesse cutback runner, but I think he shows a little power on this last hit. He keeps going forward against a pretty big guy, John Lauscher, at 236 pounds. A very nice run.
Lauscher came across the goal line and made the hit, but just a step too late.
Dansu's kick is up, and it is good. We are tied with 5:28 to go in the first half, and this game has turned around in an awfully big hurry, Gary.
Getting to be the type of action that you expect for a national championship. That's why these teams are here. They've been playing all season. They've been coming up with the big plays. They've learned to adjust, and that's the situation we have right now. But momentum certainly right now in Westminster's favor. This is going to be a critical drive for LaCrosse.
You just had the feeling when LaCrosse easily scored those 2 touchdowns and almost had another one that this was too easy because Westminster is too good of a ball club to get that far behind and stay that far behind it. And now we're seeing that there's been a momentum shift, and I think what we're going to have now is maybe a back and forth football game.
Yeah, both these teams possess the ability to score. We know that, and both of them have been in the situation where they've been down and have had to come back in the past, and also have been able to protect leads in the past. You can't really get more even than this right now for a national championship game, and we're tied at 14.
So far, mistakes have been the difference, as we thought they might be. LaCrosse with a turnover deep in Westminster territory, and then they fumbled a kickoff return, and Westminster converted that last one, and that's where we are right now, 14-14. Dansu, who just hit the game-tying extra point, will kick off, and LaCrosse this time going to try to hang on to the football. Good kick by Dansu, coming down to Harold Owens at the 15-yard line. Harold still on his feet out to about the 35, maybe the 36-yard line, and LaCrosse will start from there, 1st and 10.
Kind of a sliding stop that time by Len Rich for the Titans. As we mentioned, a lot of that surface is just icy. And Owens, you see him, that slashing style, gets the legs going, cuts back to the inside, and then the hit, wrap, and slide there by the defensive coverage for Westminster.
First and 10 from the 35. Dean Washington split to the top of your screen. Dan Bridges off the line of scrimmage, now going in motion back toward quarterback Dennis Gadel. Gadel to Reddy, and again Reddy with good running room, close to 8 or 9 yards, and LaCrosse just continues to get a great surge in the offensive line and making it kind of easy for Reddy, who's basically just running straight ahead.
Good surge. You see the offensive line pushing forward. That defensive line comes off, and there's the hole. Reddy going straight through it and picking up that yardage. North to south, that's what they want to do.
Dan Bridges out, Pete Hightower in with the play, and Hightower joins Dean Washington on the top of your screen for this 2nd down and 2 play. Here's Owens on the counter. He's got the first down and then some to about midfield. Pickup of about 7 yards for Harold Owens, and Owens is, while Reddy's been going straight ahead, they've been giving it to Owens basically on that little counter delay play.
We talked about his uncle kind of changing his, I don't know if changing his attitude, but maybe picking it up a little bit more here for playoffs. So I guess throughout the season he'd been playing strong, but his uncle said, you know, you could probably run, looks like he could run a little stronger, and apparently he's been doing that in the playoffs. He's had an excellent 3-game series heading into today's national championship.
We'll talk more about Harold Owens in just a second here. 1st and 10, Kyle Reddy up the middle again for 9 or 10 yards. Nothing fancy about that at all. They send Owens going one way and Reddy straight up the middle, and Reddy running toward the end zone.
You'll see the hole again pop open. Just straightforward blocking that time by the offensive line. And Reddy picking up the first down, maybe, as they bring the chains across.
Going to take a timeout to measure. Going back to Harold Owens as we look at a bundled up Joe Fusco. They said at the NAIA dinner last night that Fusco would be wearing shirt sleeves at the game, and apparently he has a trademark of doing that, but it's a little too cold for that.
He's a cold weather fanatic, that is for sure. But I'll tell you what, his assistant coach Carl Coker likes it even more. It was about 10 below 0 the other day during practice, and Coker was out in shorts in the snow. They like this kind of weather.
Okay, they say that Reddy did pick up enough for the first down. 1st and 10 from the 40-yard line. LaCrosse now on the move. 4:02 to go here in the first half. A tie game, 14-14 in the NAIA Division II championship game. Slipping in the backfield is Reinders. Reinders, who just came into the game, hasn't warmed up his cleats yet. Rick Reinders never really got going, and Dennis Gadel kind of bumped into him and said, well, that play's not going anywhere, so he just fell down.
You see him come back, the back is down. Gadel looking at him and says, well, yep, exactly. I'm just going to go down and protect the ball on this one. DiLorenzo in to make sure that he is down. But a loss of about 4 yards of the play. They'll go at it now, 2nd and 15, actually.
Dean Washington and Danny Bridges split to the top of your screen. Reddy and Owens now back in there. Gadel passing situation. Down to 3:16 to go. Gadel straight back. He's got time. Gadel throwing long for Bell Richard, just out of his reach by about a foot. Well thrown ball, just a little too long.
Nice touch by Gadel, and Bell Richard really with a good effort that time. He had to look back over his other shoulder. Gadel with the fake pitch. Dropping back, he sees his receiver break open. Now he's going to fire down. You'll see Gadel kind of turn around to look the other way over his shoulder. Almost came up with it, but just all for naught.
Another one of those situations where you can't lead the receivers quite as far as you normally would, because you saw Bell Richard turning the wheels just a little bit when he tried to turn it upfield. 3rd down and 14, again a passing situation. The ball on the 45-yard line of Westminster. That's Hightower in motion, and Gadel again straight back in the pocket. He's got time. He's got Dean Washington with a tremendous catch and a tremendous hit.
I don't know how he came up with that football. Jeff Catanzarite made the hit afterwards, but just what a tremendous catch.
It didn't look like there was any way that he was going to get the ball in between the 2 or 3 defenders here, but it's a perfectly thrown pass, and you're not going to see a better tough catch over the middle than that.
Get a different angle here. You'll see Gadel dropping back. Good protection. Firing downfield. There's the catch and the hit. He'll be feeling that hit for a while, but after making a catch, sometimes you forget those quickly.
LaCrosse inside the Westminster 30. They spot it at the 28. Here's Kyle Reddy down to about the 25-yard line, off tackle, and not much running room. That's the first time he hasn't had much room in quite a while. Len Rick came in to make the play. 5'10" 215-pound sophomore linebacker from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Second down now, 7 yards to go for LaCrosse. They'll send Washington out to the left, and Pete Hightower, freshman wide receiver who's really come on strong in the last half of the season. He's been a bit of a pleasant surprise for the Eagles, and that gives them some flexibility with 3 or 4 guys who can play that spot. Harold Owens for about 4, maybe 5 yards down to about the 21-yard line.
Matt Raich, the linebacker that time for Westminster, tried to slip inside and got picked up by the left tackle. And Owens cutting inside to get that extra yardage.
We're down to 1 minute and 50 seconds to go in the first half. LaCrosse trying to untie this game. It's 14-14.
Joe Fusco doing a little pacing on the sidelines. Wants his defense to rise to the occasion here.
3rd and 2, they're going to give it to Reddy. And Reddy really driving his legs, and he's going to be close. I think he may have picked it up.
Looks like from where the linesman is standing, he may have picked it up from our angle.
Minute and a half to go. Dean Washington runs up to the official, and I think, well, he was thinking about taking a timeout, but Roger Herring says, no, go ahead, run the play. They've already called it. Plenty of time for LaCrosse here. 1st and 10 at the 17-yard line. Clock now rolling again with 1:26 to go. Gadel straight back, throwing the out pattern again to Washington. Washington has it, and a good tackle out there.
Lewis Berry making the stop. Berry possesses probably the most speed of any of the Titan defenders. Really quick, and once Washington made the catch, he was able to get out there and just kind of slide him out of bounds. Not much of a hit required. Once you kind of push those guys, you're going to continue in that direction.
Dean Washington, as we've got 1:19 to go here in the first half of the clock stop. Dean Washington, the Eagles' good-looking wide receiver who, when he walked onto the airplane the other day, looked like the cover man for GQ magazine. He tells us that he dabbles a little bit in modeling. He works for an agency in his spare time up in Minneapolis, and you can't argue with him. The guy should be on the cover of more magazines. Here's the give to Reddy up the middle. Short yardage. Going to be short of the first down. Picked up maybe 2.5 yards on the play.
Pat Shannon in to help out on the stop for Westminster. That's a name that folks back in the Pennsylvania area are familiar with a couple of national champions. Notre Dame was, of course, national champion last year. Pat's brother Brian is a backup offensive lineman for the Fighting Irish.
Eagles take a timeout with 1 minute, 11 seconds to go here in the first half. Game tied 14-14. You see it there. We're at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but as you're going to find out in our halftime show, home of a lot of other little interesting things. This is a community on the move, and they've worked real hard the last few months getting ready for this game. They worked very hard to convince the NAIA to come here as we look at the Hall of Fame now. Had a chance to tour that the other night, and it's a tremendous experience. If you spend 1 hour there, you wish you could spend 2, and if you spend a day there, you wish you could spend 2 days, because there's a whole lot of interesting stuff for football fans and even your casual football fans to see.
Yeah, there's so many things to pick up on, even just some of the old style equipment. You'll think, my gosh, these guys played in this stuff, but it gives you a tremendous feeling walking through the halls of the Hall of Fame. But as you mentioned, there's a lot more here. And the NAIA taking note of that. There's a possibility they may be moving their main offices here to Canton in the next couple of years.
3rd and 1, 1:11 to go. We're tied at 14. LaCrosse trying to get the first down. The pitch to Harold Owens, cuts back inside. He has, well, I don't know. That's going to be very, very close. Looked like he was going to get it, but Westminster pushed him back at the last minute, and they may have to measure.
Pat Shannon, the linebacker at that time for Westminster, shooting the gap and overshot Owens a little bit. And again, we're going to have a measurement. Owens doing a nice job, really, of cutting back that time on what we know is a very slick part of the field.
Boy, it looks like it's going to be very close. We're down to 1 minute and 4 seconds to go.
I think he might be a little shy.
He's a little short. This brings up an interesting decision for head coach Roger Herring. What do you do? 1 minute 4 to go, 14-14. Do you go for it?
Championship ball game. I would say going in with a touchdown at halftime would be much better than a 3-point lead. In a sense, a field goal wouldn't, in my opinion, swing the momentum that much. I think you need to go for the 6.
And I think with the conditions, what they are, a field goal from the near hash mark, you don't see any hash marks on the field today, very difficult to make that thing. And LaCrosse has had a lot of success running the football so far in this game. I think it's a good call by Roger Herring. 4th down, and we'll call it about 6 inches to go for the first down. The ball at the 7.5-yard line of Westminster. We're tied at 14 here late in the first half. of the NAIA championship football game. Crowd getting on its feet below us.
May see a run right over right guard this time.
Here's Reddy. He's got the first down inside the 5-yard line. Nothing fancy. Again, just straight ahead drive blocking, and Reddy easily picks up the first down.
Right behind the right guard, Terry Strofe, 6'3", 283 pounds, and I guess he's one of the premier shot putters in the nation.
Yeah, he sure is. Last we heard, he had the 8th best shot put throw in the United States, a chance to make the Olympic team. Second down, Gadel on the quarterback sneak, and make that first down. Gadel on the quarterback sneak. He's inside the 5 down to about the 3, maybe the 2-yard line, and LaCrosse going to stop the clock there with 38 seconds to go.
Yeah, things over a little bit offensively.
Strofe, a perennial All-American in the field events in track, shot put and the hammer throw, and he's got a very good chance, they tell me, at making the Olympic team in the shot put. He's going to take some time off after this game, just rest a little, let his body recuperate from the long, tough season, and then he's going to go for it. He's going to give it his best shot, and his coaches tell me that they wouldn't bet against him.
For a guy his size, he moves off the line very quickly, and sports information director at LaCrosse telling us that he's definitely an NFL prospect as well. Guy has quite a future in front of him, but right now he's concentrating on bringing a championship trophy home to Wisconsin-LaCrosse.
And if he does make it in the NFL, he won't be the first offensive lineman to play in the NFL who graduated from UW-LaCrosse. Tom Newberry, the starting offensive lineman for the Los Angeles Rams. Newberry, of course, the Pro Bowler, grew up in Onalaska, Wisconsin, which Gary is right next to LaCrosse, and played his college football back on that national championship team a few years ago. And it'd be kind of nice to have a couple of big hogs in the NFL. He makes watching the games on Sundays a little more interesting for the folks back in the Cooley region.
Sit there looking for numbers all the time. What's his number? What's his number?
Second down and goal from the 3-yard line. They send Washington and Pete Hightower wide at the top of your screen. The give is to Reddy, and he's not going to get anything, and the clock continues to run with 33 seconds. LaCrosse hurrying to the line, the clock still rolling.
Todd Fedor that time shot through to make the stop behind the line of scrimmage, and LaCrosse now with a quick play.
Gadel throws the ball out of the end zone. LaCrosse was out of timeouts, and that brings up a 4th down with 21 seconds to go, and this is a very interesting call. I think we're going to see Chris Schumacher, the field goal kicker, here.
Now I think you have to go for that. On a 4th down, you don't want to take the chance of having the defense of Westminster rise to an occasion and actually come up with a big momentum boost with a stop here inside the 5-yard line just before halftime. You want to get some points on the board, so I think we will see that field goal unit on the field as they come in.
That timeout that LaCrosse called during the second touchdown drive for Westminster turns out to be a key, because I kind of think they wish they had it right now. They had a waste a pass there just to stop the clock. It'll be a 20-yard field goal. Schumacher with the ball directly in the middle of the field. He's 2 for 2 on extra points so far. Another high snap. This kick is up, and it is right down the middle with 18 seconds to go. LaCrosse gets the lead back at 17-14. Another nice drive by the Eagles, but I'm sure they're a little bit disappointed that they weren't able to get it in the end zone.
Yeah, I think they would have liked to have come away with a touchdown there, but again, you still get the 3 points. We have a player down on the field right now.
It's a Westminster player, the Titan trainer out there on about the 5-yard line. I don't think we've got a number on him.
Checking things out right now. He appears to be in a little bit of pain down at the 5. The Titans right now, though, their defense has to be kind of happy with the situation. They came away with only giving up a 3-point situation there rather than the touchdown. LaCrosse, they get some points on the board. So right now, both teams, I suppose, kind of happy with the situation at hand, and LaCrosse back with the lead right now.
It's really been an entertaining football game, hasn't it? I didn't expect this many points to be scored in the entire game with the field as slippery as it is, but it's been entertaining.
Oh, definitely. We still have a whole second half to come yet. Still 18 seconds remaining in the first half, and slick field, a lot of times you know, a big play could be the game breaker, which was the case last year. 7 seconds remaining, and the Titans hit the touchdown pass from Joe McKeah to Dave Foley in the final seconds. So anything can happen on a slick, wintry field here in Canton, Ohio.
I'm not sure, but I believe that's number 28. Is that Lewis Berry? As we take a look at the Eagles sidelines, I think it might be Lewis Berry. starting defensive back for Westminster, hobbling off the field on the far side. We take a look at the Eagles trying to keep the feet warm.
A lot of people trying to do that here this afternoon. Not many people sitting in the stands today. I think that they find out when you sit down, if you stand up, move around a little bit, you can get that blood circulating a little bit.
Here's Schumacher running up on the ball, and he hits a good kick down the middle, and that one is going to just make it into the end zone. A nice kick. He kept it low and got it over the receiver's head, and with 18 seconds to go, the Titans will take over 1st and 10 on their own 20-yard line. Hey, Channel 19, WXOW back in LaCrosse. Some of the folks who made the trip, Jim Choke Sosha, I have to respond to that. They're talking about my putting game, and I admit I missed a few 3-foot putts on television this year, but I'm going to buy a new blade in the off-season, and it's going to be a whole new Sosha. They're going to be calling me Sosha the Blade.
Just have to get them to trim the green so you have that funnel effect. That's what we do down in our area.
It's always the equipment or the conditions. It's never the putter. 18 seconds to go. 17-14, LaCrosse on top of Westminster. And let's see what the Titans decide to do here with just a few seconds to go. McKee's just going to kneel down and let the clock run out. So that's the way it's going to end, as time will expire in what has been an extremely entertaining first half of football here at the NAIA National Championship game. LaCrosse has the edge, but this is anybody's game as we go to the second half. We're at halftime right now. We will be back with more from the NAIA Championship football game in just a moment. It's LaCrosse 17 and the Westminster 14.
The year is 1855. The people of Lawrence County are just getting on their feet. And you know who's here to help them? First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania. Since then, we've grown into Lawrence County's largest bank with the biggest interest in our community, with more services, more employees. In fact, our deposits are still loaned locally to help our area prosper. So when you need a strong partner, join the tradition. You'll feel right at home at First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania.
Westminster College. This name has come to represent a wide array of opportunities. Westminster offers concentrated academic attention as well as resources to help stimulate individual growth. Westminster has a strong Greek system, and 85% of students who apply to medical schools are accepted. As well as a top-rated academic school, Westminster is also known for its athletic accomplishments. Westminster College offering academic excellence and a chance for personal growth. Start creating your future at Westminster College.
Hi, I'm Don DeMarco from Titan Chevrolet, the home of champions. I'd like to take this time to congratulate Coach Joe Fusco, his staff, and the Westminster Titans for their record-setting year, and as they go for their 4th national championship. Good luck, guys.
Go for it.
Titan Chevrolet, 138 South Market Street, New Wilmington. Radio and television station managers surveyed nationally listed 2 prerequisites for future broadcasters: practical experience and a good liberal arts education. That's why Westminster College graduates do well in the competitive broadcasting job market. For a tour of Westminster's fine broadcasting facilities and to learn more about the value of a liberal arts education for future broadcasters, call the Westminster College admissions office. Experience and liberal arts await the future broadcaster at Westminster College.
We are back at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Also home this year to the NAIA Division II National Championship game. We're at the half. UW-LaCrosse leading Westminster in what's been an absolutely tremendous football game. It's LaCrosse 17, Westminster 14. Take a look at our broadcast booth at the young man who's been doing a heck of a job doing statistics, and he's freezing. We're going to try to give him an opportunity to get out of the booth and let him warm up because he doesn't have the outerwear that we have on. But I'm Jim Sosha from WXOW TV in La Crosse, Wisconsin. With me is Gary Swanson. Gary, it's been a great game. A couple turnovers have been the key so far.
Absolutely. A couple mistakes really by La Crosse, giving Westminster the opportunity to go downfield and get 14 points on the board. But you can't talk about a better ball game here, back and forth. The momentum, it really is kind of even right now at this point. LaCrosse getting the field goal just before halftime. So you have to think it's swinging their way a little bit, but we knew it was going to be a battle, and with the second half on the way, it's going to get even better, I think, down to the wire.
Do you look for either team to make any major changes here at halftime?
We may see a little bit more of some of the surprise plays from the Westminster end of thing, but for LaCrosse, I think they ought to stick to the game plan. The running game is working nicely for them. They're getting a lot of time run off the clock here in the first half. That's what they want to do, just keep churning that clock down and keep the ball away from Joe McKee and the Titans.
The Titans and the Eagles have been busy for weeks getting ready for this moment, but they're not the only folks around here who have been busy spending a lot of time getting prepared. Lots of folks here have put in long days to get this national championship game here in Canton, Ohio, and we talked to a few of them throughout the week. First guy we're going to introduce you to is Dr. Jefferson Ferris. He is the executive director of the NAIA. This is the first time in 50-some-odd years that the NAIA has held its championship football game at a neutral site. What made you decide to play it here in Canton?
Well, Jim, we've always wanted to be in a neutral site. The problem has been that we couldn't find a community that had both the leadership and the enthusiasm we thought was necessary to make it a great game for the young people. And Canton came along because of two schools that we have here that are not football schools, and because the Pro Hall of Fame was here, they said we would like to give it a try, and as we talked to them, we were convinced they could do a good job for the young people, and they really have.
I know all week long, all season long, the NAIA has really been stressing the importance of academics first, athletics up there, but still second. What kinds of steps is your organization taking to make sure that that actually happens in your university?
Well, Jim, we've completely changed our eligibility rules, and without getting into great detail, they are designed to make certain that a kid is meeting his own graduation requirements at the same rate he's completing his eligibility. In other words, if he plays 4 years, he's going to be able to graduate. And we think that's what we have to tell the young people so they understand athletics is tremendously important, but the top priority is education.
You're doing a great job with your priorities, but you're not doing such a good job with weather at your championship site. Are you gonna improve that next season?
Well, when you play in the middle of December and all our Division II schools are in the north, you run a great risk. But we're going to find somebody and put them in charge of this weather next year.
Canton Mayor Sam Persis has done everything right. Maybe he didn't do a good job on the weather, Gary, but everything else he's done just fine. We talked to him as well the other night. Okay.
Here we go.
Ready?
Yeah.
Mayor, this is the first time in 50-some-odd years that the NAIA has held its championship football game at a neutral site. What did you folks here in Canton do to convince them to play the game here?
Well, we've been working very hard at it for the last 18 months, and I really just think it's the character of the community that comes out as we dealt with Jefferson and the NAIA. It was, I really think it's a great marriage between the two of us.
Football fans all over the country are, at least to some degree, familiar with your main attraction here, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but I think a lot of fans across the country don't realize what a football-crazy city this is. Can you tell us about that?
Well, you really have to be here to experience it. Anytime you can put 20,000 people into a stadium to watch a high school football game, and we do that particularly when Canton plays Massillon, it just boggles your mind. Of course, we've been the home of the Hall of Fame, Jim Thorpe. We had a lot of great ones coming out of Canton, and it's just a tradition. Football's a tradition in Canton, Ohio.
Is this a first step for Canton? Are you going to try to set your sights higher and get some more NAIA championships in the years to come?
Absolutely. That's our ultimate goal, is to get the NAIA here, period.
Taking another look at Fawcett Stadium here in Canton, Ohio. Now, believe it or not, they sold every ticket available in this stadium. Something like 22,000 tickets were sold, and many of them were bought by major corporations. They didn't fill it up with fans, but on a day like this, you know, you can't expect much more than that. We do have a good crowd, and you take a look at the lacrosse band down on the field. They're having a good time. But the Canton Chamber of Commerce has also done a heck of a job. We talked last night at the NAIA banquet to Ron Bennington, who's been coordinating this project with the NAIA. This must have been a tremendous undertaking for your organization.
Certainly was. We've been working on this project for many months and create a lot of enthusiasm and spirit in the community. We have an organization of approximately 100 people, and they all just come to bat, and we've done an outstanding job, I think, of welcoming these teams to the community.
I know that the coaches and the players have been more than happy with the kind of treatment they've gotten here in Canton. What other things, other than, say, the Pro Football Hall of Fame and this NAIA championship game, what other things does Canton and the surrounding area have to offer for people who might want to make a drive through here at maybe the warmer time of the year?
Well, we have great high school football and great high school sports here in this area. We also have a tremendous park system. It's one of the best, I think, in the country. We have many activities that people participate in over the years, and it's just a great place to live.
Are the citizens in this area really interested in this ball game? I know Westminster isn't too far away. LaCrosse, they probably don't know much about. Are they excited about this thing?
Well, we sold 23,000 tickets for tomorrow's game. That shows the interest, I think.
Boy, that must have been a real tough thing to do, to get that many ticket sales.
We had people coming in today when we had 4 inches of snow on the ground, buying tickets today for tomorrow's game. So that's exciting to us.
Well, there's the field. They've gotten most of the snow off the ground in the last 24 hours. We were nailed with about 8 inches last night, and it spent a couple hours blowing around, but the grounds crew has done a pretty good job getting it off the field. We are midway through halftime. LaCrosse leading Westminster in the NAIA Division II championship game. We're going to be taking a break, and we will be back with more of the NAIA championship football game after this. We're at halftime. LaCrosse leads 17-14.
Christmas comes but once a year, a time for friends and family dear.
Give the gifts they're wishing for.
You'll find them at your Big World store.
The holidays are close at hand, and shopping time is fleeting.
So hurry to your Big Wheel.
From all of us, season's greetings.
Big Wheel says, good luck, Titan. Today's championship game is made possible in part by Newcastle Orthopedic Associates. Orthopedics and orthopedic surgery, total joint, sports medicine, reconstructive, and arthroscopy. Doctors Gerald H. Weiner, John M. Corbett, Michael Larkin, and Donald E. Bittner, certified by the American Board of Orthopedic Surgeons, 2602 Wilmington Road in Newcastle. Today's live telecast is made possible in part by the NEPCO Corporation. Entering its third decade, Northern Engineering and Plastics Corporation, NEPCO, continues its leadership in plastic closures for the dairy, bottled water, and juice industries. When you buy a NEPCO closure, you're buying more than just another plastic closure. You're buying total closure value.
Happy holidays and congratulations to the Titans from NEPCO.
Jameson Memorial Hospital, accredited by the Joint Commission of Healthcare Organizations, is proud to be a sponsor of this live championship game. Jameson Hospital offers comprehensive health and human services, including cancer diagnostic center, medical surgical specialty programs in orthopedic, maternal, child health, and medical rehabilitation, comprehensive outpatient and emergency services, complete home health care, and a mobile health screening unit. Part of the Jameson Health Systems Incorporated, Jameson Hospital says, good luck, Titans.
Jim Sosha and Gary Swanson back at Canton, Fawcett Stadium, halftime of the NAIA Division II National Championship game. Gary, it's been a good one so far, hasn't it?
Excellent ball game. You can't ask for much more in a national championship game, and I know it's going to get even more exciting down here to the wire in the second half. LaCrosse coming out early, establishing themselves with a good drive. They were stopped early, but managed to get it in on the second drive, and eventually went up 14-0. The Titans battling back to tie it up at 14, and then a field goal just before halftime, putting LaCrosse on top. That gives us our halftime score. But just a tremendous outing, and you expect that from two teams that have made it to a national championship game like this.
Two teams have made it, and two teams have had a lot of fans who have made it to Canton this weekend. The longest trip, of course, would be the one made by the UW-LaCrosse Eagle backers, and we spent some time talking to the folks who came up with the team and some of the folks who came up with the bus. It's about a 700-mile trip, and right now we want you to meet Herb French. He is the president of the UW-LaCrosse Quarterback Club. I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but if LaCrosse can win this game, you're going to go down as one of the two quarterback club presidents of all time to go out with a national championship. That must be a special feeling.
It really is. I think we've already set a record by having the most victories in one year, so this is all that's left. It's the way to go out.
Your organization has done a lot getting people to and from games. I understand you had a plane trip and a bus trip out here to Canton.
Yeah, that's right, Jim. And some of us flew in Thursday night, and some others took quite a long bus ride today, but saw a little bit of the country. And we were real pleased to bring 2 of the players along and our seniors on the squad. They had gotten injured during the playoffs, and the quarterback club brought them along here so they could enjoy the spectacle also.
By no means is the quarterback club a group of fair-weather fans, though. You guys are on the road every week, aren't you?
Definitely. If there's an out-of-the-town game, we've got a bus going to it no matter where it is, and we usually fill them up. We've had buses to Baker, Kansas, and Lincoln, Nebraska this year, and plus the conference games.
What will the Herb French legacy be after you retire as quarterback club president?
Oh, I don't think there really is. Maybe the national championship, and we'll just go on and keep doing this. It's a heck of a lot of fun.
Okay, Herb French, a familiar face to most of you folks back in the La-Crosse area, the Cooley region. If you've seen him and you're wondering, God, where have I seen that guy before? How about the Children's Miracle Network Telethon? Herb every year is one of our marathon men who sits there for 20-plus hours and does a great job raising funds for some kids who really need it, and we appreciate all the help we get from Herb throughout the Miracle Network Telethon, and I'm sure all the fans and all the players, and certainly we do too, appreciate all the work he does for the UW-La-Crosse football program. He was accompanied on this trip by Mr. Pat Stevens. Pat is the executive director of the UW-La-Crosse Alumni Foundation. We'd like you to meet Pat Stevens right now. A lot of people out there, other than the fundraising efforts that you go through, I'm not that sure what your organization does. Tell me.
Well, the UWL Foundation is the service branch for the university. We are the official fundraisers and the official depository for private dollars that come to our campus to support the university as a whole.
Football program has been tough for a number of years. How big of a boost is that for your department, getting extra dollars into the University of Wisconsin-LaCrosse?
Well, as a non-scholarship school, it's a piece of the puzzle. Certainly having a successful football program and seeing pieces in the daily paper and in Today and USA's Today paper was most helpful and so on. But most of our alumni support the campus as a whole rather than a particular sport. But having a nationally ranked football program is certainly great for our exposure and helps our overall efforts.
Let's talk numbers for a minute. How many UWL graduates are there out there?
We have a little bit over 30,000 UWL grads that have gone through our campus and earned degrees over our 80-plus year history now. And in Wisconsin alone, we have about 14,000 of those graduates. So Wisconsin is home turf for most of them.
And are you finding that a good share of them are pretty generous when it comes to contact with your office?
Well, we do. We have the best ratios, I think, of any of our sister institutions in the entire Wisconsin system. For those that are contacted and say that they'll give or support something, UWL is well received.
And we're back here at Canton's Fawcett Stadium at halftime. I'm Gary Swanson, and joining me right now is the president of Westminster College, Oscar Remick. This is your third year at Westminster and your second opportunity at a national championship.
Oh, I know. It's amazing, isn't it?
What does this, as a result of a national championship, the exposure in that, not only for the athletic program, but how does it help out the school?
Well, I think it gives the school an opportunity to present its true image. We are, first of all, of course, a good academic institution. And in spite of all the attention given to these programs, if you ask Joe Fusco, our coach, it's still academics at Westminster first and foremost. And I think getting that image out to a broader public is good not only for Westminster, I think it's good for higher education. So we're very proud of our players.
One thing we talked a little about during pregame was the fact that the students were actually taking final exams this week, and some this morning, just prior to this national championship game. So.
Oh, yes, that's exactly the case, and we couldn't change that schedule for anything. We had our teams out in Washington last week, and Joe had them in the library and Friday afternoon, and they were studying in the airport at midnight when I was with them coming back to Pittsburgh.
Right now at halftime, La-Crosse on top by 3. Any outlook for the second half from a Westminster
Well, I
fan?
think it's a very good game, and you would expect it to be a good game, and I have never doubted the capacity of this team of ours to do what they have to do. And so I'm looking forward to a good second half, and I think we'll be very proud at the end of this game.
They talk about a commitment to excellence at Westminster, and Oscar Remick certainly, I'm sure, proud of that from a presidential standpoint.
Oh, I certainly am.
And also from what's going on in the football field this afternoon.
Oh, yeah, not only an excellent team and excellent coaches, but excellent support fans around here. As you can see from the field across the way there, it's not only a day to watch a game, it's a day to be frozen and watch a game.
Well, I hope you get warm here for the second half.
I hope we all do.
Oscar Remick from Westminster College, our halftime score, Wisconsin-LaCrosse 17 and Westminster 14. We'll be back in just a moment with the second half.
The year is 1855. The people of Lawrence County are just getting on their feet. And you know who's here to help them? First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania. Since then, we've grown into Lawrence County's largest bank with the biggest interest in our community, with more services, more employees. In fact, our deposits are still loaned locally to help our area prosper. So when you need a strong partner, join the tradition. You'll feel right at home at First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania.
Westminster College. This name has come to represent a wide array of opportunities. Westminster offers concentrated academic attention as well as resources to help stimulate individual growth. Westminster has a strong Greek system, and 85% of students who apply to medical schools are accepted. As well as a top-rated academic school, Westminster is also known for its athletic accomplishments. Westminster College offering academic excellence and a chance for personal growth. Start creating your future at Westminster College.
Hi, I'm Don DeMarco from Titan Chevrolet, the home of champions. I'd like to take this time to congratulate Coach Joe Fusco, his staff, and the Westminster Titans for their record-setting year, and as they go for their 4th national championship. Good luck, guys.
Go for it. Titan Chevrolet, 138 South Market Street, New Wilmington. Radio and television station managers surveyed nationally listed 2 prerequisites for future broadcasters: practical experience and a good liberal arts education. That's why Westminster College graduates do well in the competitive broadcasting job market. For a tour of Westminster's fine broadcasting facilities and to learn more about the value of a liberal arts education for future broadcasters, call the Westminster College admissions office. Experience and liberal arts await the future broadcaster at Westminster College.
Jim Sosha, Gary Swanson back at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio. It's 17-14. LaCrosse leading Westminster in the NAIA Division II championship game. Our officiating crew seeing if the field is thawed out, and they probably didn't work too hard to find out that it has not.
It's kind of funny and in a sense ironic. Of course, Westminster just a little bit north of Pittsburgh, where the Steelers, of course, have a few folks in this Hall of Fame here in Canton and are known for playing in this type of weather when the NFL season rolls on. And LaCrosse, a lot of Green Bay Packer fans from up there, another one of the great dominant teams for the NFL, who also have a number of folks here in the Hall of Fame. And here we have another Snow Bowl here this afternoon.
We have some statistics for you. It's been an even matchup on the scoreboard. Let's see how it looks statistically. Here we go. Westminster, 7 first downs compared to 16 for LaCrosse. LaCrosse, of course, with the dominating rushing game here in the first half, 150 yards compared with just 19 for Westminster. And you look at the total yardage and you'd think that maybe LaCrosse might be up by a little bit more than 3 points, but the Titans have done a great job taking advantage of some opportunities.
Yeah, the key really a couple of mistakes, and of course the kickoff fumble by LaCrosse, giving Westminster the second opportunity to get another 7 on the board. But yeah, you look at the total yardage. LaCrosse, again, we talked about it earlier in the pregame, field position going to be a big part of the game. LaCrosse has had decent field position. They've taken a lot of time churning up the yardage, and they've gotten some points out of it. But right now, with the second half on the way, I'm sure they want to get a lot more here on the board.
Well, the great teams take advantage. They capitalize when they're given the opportunity, and Westminster, you can't argue that. They are definitely a great team. They're going for their 27th consecutive win. They have not lost since the 1987 season. Some individual stats, Gary.
Just, yeah, taking a look at it, ready for LaCrosse already has 108 yards on the afternoon on 21 carries, and Owens has 13 carries for 64 yards. His longest was a 13-yard gain. But a pretty balanced attack between those two individuals, and Gadel himself has 3 carries for 12 yards. So, you know, that balanced running attack has been the effective part of the LaCrosse offense here in the first half.
Okay, we're just about set to go here in the second half. Westminster will receive.
Kickoff for LaCrosse.
Chris Schumacher will be doing the kickoff for the Eagles, and It's another line drive, and it's going to come down to Mark Aiken, and he's going to go straight up the middle. The 20, the 25, just outside the 35-yard line, and I like the way he just goes straight ahead and hits that hole. If there is a gap there, he's going to shoot through it, but he doesn't waste any time.
He does a nice job, again, of finding that seam and following the wall of blockers up the field. He gets to it quickly. Gary Beck made a nice hit on him to make the stop that time for LaCrosse, and Westminster opening up with the football here in the second half.
The sideline crew digging in those chains into the frozen tundra-like turf here at Fawcett Stadium. Good field position to start the drive for the Titans. They have it 1st and 10 on the 30, and it's the same starting backfield that they started the game with. It's Matt Norcutt and Joe McKee at quarterback, Norcutt the fullback, and of course Brad Tokar, who's got the ball here. The flea flicker back to McKee, and he is throwing long, and it is just a little bit overthrown. Mike Beggy had inside position on Fritz Leinfelder, and the ball was maybe 2 yards at most overthrown.
We talked about it again, about Westminster pulling out the stops. We'll take a look at it again. McKee hands off to Tokar. Tokar looks in the line, pops the ball back to Joe McKee, and McKee uncorks one long way down the field.
I don't know if anyone has told head coach Joe Fusco that it's not a good day to be doing stuff like that, but you can see right there it was open. It's working. Maybe it is, in reality, a very good day to be trying this stuff, because on several occasions Westminster has come close to breaking a big play. 2nd down, 10 yards to go from the 30. Split backfield this time behind McKee, and he wants to throw it. McKee with lots of time coming over the middle, and it's caught by Beggy for a 1st down.
You credit Mike Beggy for making that play happen. Beggy on a little post pattern down the field that time. Decided to come back and help out his quarterback. McKee rolling out to his left, looking downfield to the left, and everyone's covered. He looks then across to the right, sees Beggy cutting across, steps forward and fires to him. Beggy comes up with a reception and the 1st down.
All year long, that Eagle defensive front four has been able to pressure the quarterback and get some sacks. I'm not sure, but I don't think they have sacked McKee so far in this game. They have pressured him a couple of times, but they have not gotten to him. 1st and 10, the Titans. Big hit in the backfield. A loss of about 4 yards, and Mike Bright, the 6'3", 215-pound junior from Stratford, Wisconsin, had that play diagnosed early.
Bright lining up on the left side that time, and nobody picked him up, and he just came right in. You'll see him pop into the screen there, nobody touching him, straight into the backfield, and boom. Tokar goes down for the loss.
We have an injured player down on the field. It's a Westminster player. I think that might be number 64, Don Miller, the offensive tackle.
That would be a rough loss right now for Westminster. Linemen, they got a lot of them on the Titan team. Primarily, they like to work things to their left side, follow behind Roger Kreider and Bill Luffy. And the right side has been a rough point for them throughout the season. And I don't know if we have a knee injury or a cramp down. They don't want to speculate again with the injured player down on the field. But right now, the Titans with a 2nd and 12 facing them.
Miller, one of the bigger guys on what really isn't a huge offensive front. He's 6'3", 250 pounds. It looks here like they average about 230, which is good size, but compared to a team like LaCrosse, not really all that big.
You talk about the throwback style players, too. Don Miller is one of them. He likes to get in there, likes to get the sod and the mud on the helmet and go in there and knuckle it up with some guys on the inside along the line. He's got that lineman mentality, and one of the guys that Westminster likes to have up front. And he's still down and being attended to.
Being very careful at this time not to move him until they're exactly sure what the injury is, and that's always a good idea to make sure before you do anything when a player's down on the field.
Just to look at some of the other individual statistics we had from the first half, we mentioned Owens and Reddy, a pretty balanced attack. Reddy leading all rushers right now with 108 yards. For Westminster, it's been kind of a quiet game from the backfield. Brad Tokar with 24 net yards. He had 9 carries for 27 yards officially, but he lost 3 on 1 carry and has 1 touchdown to his credit. And Matt Crooney, the other Titan to carry the football, only once for a gain of 2 yards, and that giving the Titan total there a rather quiet 26 net yards here in the first half.
You know, the way that Miller was lying down on the ground, face down and not really moving, it's kind of a scary sight, and you're never quite sure. You don't want to see anything serious, but we just had a good sign. The trainer rolled him over on his back, so we're sure it's not something a spinal or a neck injury. Anytime they roll them over, they know that's not the problem, and that definitely is a good sign.
One thing that, just a quick mention for both of these colleges, I know Sean Toomey is the trainer for Westminster, and just talking with some folks from Wisconsin-LaCrosse, I understand they have a tremendous trainer as well. It's good to know that if someone is going down, that they're in the hands of these folks. They've done a lot of studying. Sean Toomey has probably just about every background you can get as an athletic trainer. And things have gone well so far this season. The Titans haven't faced too many injuries.
While the training staff continues to attend to Don Miller, we're going to take a break. 14:05 here to go in the third quarter of play, and we'll be back with more of the NAIA championship football game after this. It's LaCrosse leading 17-14.
Today's live telecast is made possible in part by the NEFCO Corporation. Entering its third decade, Northern Engineering and Plastics Corporation, NEFCO, continues its leadership in plastic closures for the dairy, bottled water, and juice industries. When you buy a NEFCO closure, you're buying more than just another plastic closure. You're buying total closure value.
Happy holidays and congratulations to the Titans from NEFCO.
Jameson Memorial Hospital, accredited by the Joint Commission of Healthcare Organizations, is proud to be a sponsor of this live championship game. Jameson Hospital offers comprehensive health and human services, including Cancer Diagnostic Center, medical surgical, specialty programs in orthopedic, maternal, child health, and medical rehabilitation, comprehensive outpatient and emergency services, complete home health care, and a mobile health screening unit. Part of the Jameson Health Systems Incorporated, Jameson Hospital says, good luck, Titans.
Back at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio, Jim Social with Gary Swanson, and you don't like to see this. They have brought the ambulance out to the 40-yard line to pick up offensive right tackle Don Miller, who went down on that last play. We're not sure the extent of his injuries, and we'll try to update you just as soon as we know, but I just do want to repeat, when he went down with the injury, he was down face first in the snow, and it took them a matter of about 2 minutes, and then they decided to flip him over. So we're just hoping that it's not too serious.
Miller came on this year expecting, well, not necessarily himself expecting, but I know the Titan coaching staff expecting him to be basically a backup for the Titan line. And he did battle his way into a starting position, has had continual improvement throughout the '89 campaign. But right now, I'm sure concern actually on both sidelines as Miller continues to be attended to down on the field.
We've got 14 minutes and 5 seconds to go here in quarter number 3. LaCrosse, after jumping out to an early 14-0 lead, saw that lead evaporate in a hurry as Westminster came back midway through the first half to tie it at 14-14, and then LaCrosse again on the strength of a very impressive performance on the ground from Harold Owens and Kyle Reddy, drove the ball down, got inside the 10-yard line, was in pretty good position to get it in the end zone, but simply ran out of time, and they elected on a 4th and 2 play to settle for a field goal from old reliable Chris Schumacher, and that's where we stand right now, 17-14, as they are still taking their time getting Miller off the football field.
Teammates right now for Westminster huddled on the sidelines, and as you see Miller onto the stretcher, they're going to put him up into the ambulance. Kind of a sad sight here for a championship game in the afternoon. You don't like to see things like this happen in any game. But you hear the applause there as Miller is put into the ambulance. Hopefully everything will be okay.
It's always interesting to see how teams react after something like this. It's got to be tough to play when you see a teammate of yours getting put in the ambulance with what appears to be at least a fairly serious injury.
For that matter, even an opposing player sometimes. Right. You're out there and you're in the fire of the game and concentrating so much on just getting in there and making the big tackle, and then suddenly you see that folks aren't infallible and they're not indestructible when they're out there, and when you're reminded of that, sometimes you become a little overcautious as well. We'll see what kind of an effect this does have on the remaining part of the ballgame.
Okay, we are just about ready to resume action as you see the ambulance leaving the playing field. It is 2nd down and 12 yards to go. Westminster with the ball on its own 38-yard line early here in the second half, and the fans on both sides of the field trying to whoop it up, partially to get fired up and partially just to try to stay warm here on a very cold day here in Canton, Ohio. Second down, 12 yards to go. Joe McKeah under center again, out of the play action we've seen all day, and he's going to throw again under pressure, over the middle, underthrown, looking for Foley down at about the 25-yard line.
Andy Protaski was coming in from the backside that time, and McKeah got some extra time by a great block by Brad Tokar. But the pass a little short, plus Foley slipping downfield, it comes up incomplete.
Another good job by that offensive line for the Titans, giving McKeah about 3, 4, maybe even 5 seconds to survey the field and then decide where he wants to throw it. And a good job by McKeah, too. The good quarterbacks are the guys who can go back there. They'll sense the pressure coming from the backside, and they know exactly when to get rid of it, and that's what McKeah does. And here's a formation we haven't seen, Gary, so far today. 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and out of the shotgun they go. McKeah stepping up over the middle, complete for what looks like a first down to Mike Beggy. Mike Beggy making the catch at the LaCrosse 47-yard line, and might have been a case of just too many receivers to cover it at one time for LaCrosse.
Big third down play. McKeah dropping back, steps forward and fires, and there's Beggy splitting the defenders. Comes up with a big catch. And a lot of pressure that time from Clint Byer. But a first down for Westminster.
Again, another critical third down conversion for the Titans. They're very good at that. They did it last year to LaCrosse in that game-winning drive late in the fourth quarter, and they've been doing it again fairly consistently here over the last 2 quarters. Again, a little play action. McKeah under pressure, throwing over the middle, almost intercepted at the 35-yard line by Kasey Campbell. Again, as we told you earlier, Campbell, we get a good look at him there with the cast on the left hand, is going to have a tough time pulling in anything. I think normally he might have made that catch.
Again, McKeah rolling to his right and firing downfield. The ball had a lot of zip on it, and Campbell able to get the arm in there, or the club, you might call it, to knock the ball away.
Kasey is going to undergo reconstructive surgery on that hand. Again, it was broken. The finger actually was broken in 6 places last week in the third-round playoff game against Baker. Gary grabbing his hand right now. It hurts to even talk about something
I'm just
like
trying
that.
to figure. I didn't think there's enough room in a finger to break it in 6 places.
Well, he says he's going to be all right. The doctors told him he'd be okay to play this game. We've got people on both sides of the line jumping off sides and penalty flags all over the place.
I think this one might go against Westminster. It looked like the guy replacing Don Miller that time jumped up a little early.
Back to Kasey Campbell.
Got a dead ball foul. Ball start. On the offense. Second down.
Nick Define, our referee, telling us exactly what happened. Back to Kasey Campbell. He broke it last week and was dying to play this week. They were going to do the surgery this week, but then his doctor told him that there was only a 1 in 100 chance that he could do any more damage to it. And after that reconstructive surgery, the doctors say Campbell's hand will eventually be just fine. So as you can tell, it's tough to keep these guys off the field, if at all possible. It is now second down and 15. The Titans with it from their own 47-yard line. McKeah again out of that spread formation. Under pressure, that's John Wilsey has had a hand on him. And McKeah just got away from him and managed to dump it off incomplete.
Just avoiding a sack that time. McKeah felt the pressure coming from behind and just decided to uncork it downfield. You see him drop back here. And again, the pressure coming from the backside.
John Wilsey has really been a force all year long for LaCrosse. He came on very strong at the tail end of last season, especially in the playoffs. He's just a sophomore, 6'1", 250-pounder out of Fond du Lac, and he just keeps getting better and better. Kind of a quiet guy, but he's one of those guys who's, as they say, a leader by example, boy, and he set a good example on that play. Third down, 15 yards to go. Another key third down play here for Westminster. McKeah wants to throw long. He's got Foley, and it is caught. It is caught inside the 25-yard line and knocked out of bounds. Again, a key third down conversion. The defender on the play was Tim Hayrod.
Now that was almost a carbon copy of the winning touchdown pass that won the game last year. The same play. Foley going down the sideline and just McKeah lofting it over his shoulder. Foley, good concentration, able to haul it in before he's knocked out of bounds.
Deja vu for the Westminster fans and a nightmare relived for the folks back in LaCrosse. A beautiful throw and a very good catch. First down and 10. Westminster now the nose of the ball just inside the LaCrosse 20-yard line, and that formation has worked on this drive, so they're going to stick with it here on first down. McKee with time. Now it's breaking down. He's going to be hit. He's still on his feet inside the 15-yard line for about 7 yards, and it looked like the Eagles had him, but McKee somehow managed to squirt out of there.
He has been able to run the ball quite a bit this year for Westminster. Not afraid to tuck it under his arm and go ahead forward. And that's the situation here. McKee back in the pocket, sees things break open up the middle, and just decides to try and pick it up on his own.
Carried the ball 80 times this year for the Titans, and you can see folks back in Wisconsin and even in Pennsylvania and in Ohio know who Don Mikowski is, the Packer quarterback, and he kind of reminds the people of Mikowski a little bit. He knows when to run and when he has to. He's pretty good at it. Second down, we'll call it about 4 yards to go, and here's McKee again. He's got Foley for the first down inside the 10. Ball thrown a little bit behind Foley, but he made a nice adjustment on that play.
Wasn't sure if he actually got the handle on that, but he did haul it in on the sideline. McKee, just a quick drop and firing to him on the sideline. And Foley able to get the snag on it before he fell out of bounds.
After giving up the big play, Hayroth on that right corner, giving Foley lots of room. He was playing him about 10 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Shotgun formation by Westminster has spread out the LaCrosse defense, and they've been able to chip away at it here and also chip away at the clock.
11:48 to go in the third quarter. LaCrosse clinging to a 3-point lead, 17-14, but the Titans are on the move, and there's the same play, and this time he was looking for Brad Tokar, and again, this one was overthrown, but it was a little too high, and Tokar, rather, could not make the catch.
Yeah, McKee just throwing a little bit behind him that time, and unsuccessful on the pass attempt.
What is it, Gary, about this Westminster team? They're almost a better team on 3rd and long than they are on 1st and 10.
It's uncanny. It's almost like they like pressure. They like that situation. That's why when we're going in at halftime here, talking with some Titan fans here, they said, "Oh, that's fine. We're down by 3. That's where we want to be right now." They seem to play better when the pressure's on.
Well, that sounds very familiar to the football fans back in Wisconsin as well, the Packer fans I'm talking about. 2nd and goal, ball on the 7 or 8 yard line, and here's McKee rolling to the near side, throwing, and this one is underthrown. Good defense out there by number 43, Fritz Leinfelder. Chris Osborne, the intended receiver, and I think McKee saw that he had no one open and just kind of threw that one away.
Mike Bright and Corey Korn coming in on the pressure that time, and McKee just trying to split the ball between them and unable to get it out there to the receiver. It falls incomplete.
Okay, here's right where the Titans want to be. 3rd down, about 7 to go. A chance to take the lead here with 11:36 to go. They trail this thing by 3 points. A little bit of confusion. The tight end now goes in the slot on the left side. 3rd down and goal from the LaCrosse 7-yard line. McKee again wants to throw. Now he wants to run. Now he throws, and it's complete for a touchdown. It is complete for a touchdown. Westminster takes the lead, and who else? Number 7, Dave Foley. A great bit of running, and then a great decision by Joe McKee.
McKee rolling to his right, and again, Foley just spreading himself and getting open in the end zone. McKee dropping straight back, sees the defender come back there, so he decides to roll out of the pocket, and he sees Foley waving his arm in the end zone, just fires it in there for the touchdown.
McKee wanted the defense to commit, and it took a long time before they did. Once they did, though, he knew exactly what to do with it. You see Kasey Campbell coming up, and that was it. 11:30 to go. Westminster leads at 20-17. They've got a chance to take a 4-point lead here on the conversion. Good snap. The ball's up, and it is blocked. No good. Dansu's kick is blocked, and of course, LaCrosse, they had this happen against them once this year. If they would have scooped that up and run it in, they would have come up with 2 points. However, they didn't get close to that, but it's a big block, which keeps it on a 3-point difference with 11:30 to go.
That could be a critical miss as well. If LaCrosse, if it does come down to the wire with a 3-point differential, as we'll see that block one more time, see who actually did get a hand on it. And I think it might have been Mike Bright.
Yeah, I think number 44, Mike Bright, is the guy right in the middle of your screen who went up and knocked it down with his right hand. You can see now the shadows starting to creep across the field here at Fawcett Stadium. Is that a factor, Gary, in this ballpark?
It can be. It can be tough for any receiver, or for that matter, defender, looking at that ball. Of course, the passing game is getting to be a key right now for Westminster. LaCrosse with a running game, I don't know if it'll play that much of a factor or not. Depends on if Gale does go to the pass. But popping in and out of those shadows, the ball can play a little tricks on your eyes somewhat.
Gadel in that first half did throw 8 times. He completed 5 out of 8 for 78 yards. His longest completion was one to Dean Washington. That one went for 27 yards. Here's Dansu with the kick, and it's a nice kick coming down to about the 14-yard line. Harold Washington with it, coming right up the middle. Harold still on his feet and hit and brought down there. In on the tackle was Matt Raich.
Just about everybody, I think, slipped on that play heading down the field. And Raich coming up with a big hit. See it one more time. Good reception in the return, trying to cut back, and he kind of slips a little bit there after playing a hurdler, and then is taken down by the Westminster defender.
We have 11:25 to go here in quarter number 3. Westminster with its first lead of the ball game, leading this one 20-17. LaCrosse with the ball, 1st and 10 from its own 32-yard line, and they're going to do what they did very well in the first half. However, they don't do it very well this time. Kyle ready for maybe a yard, and about 3 or 4 Westminster players in on the tackle.
And one of the ones leading the charge was a guy with a broken leg, Kevin Blazer, lumping in to stop the hole up a little bit, and the rest of the secondary run help coming up to shut things down.
It's the time of the year when you got broken legs, broken fingers, strained tendons, and everything else.
As cold as it is, I bet they don't feel a thing right now.
Better than any pain-killing shot you could get. Just run around on this field. 2nd down and 10. No gain for Reddy on that first down play. That's one of the few times that Reddy has not had any success running straight up the middle. Gadel going to go straight back, and he's got some time. He's throwing long for Hightower. It is caught. It is caught by Pete Hightower. A beautiful throw, and again we see a receiver making a nice adjustment, turning his body and backpedaling and staying with the ball. I think the receivers in this game have been outstanding.
Hightower did a nice job of beating his defender, Mike Ruby, that time. Gadel had all kinds of time behind his line to pick a receiver. You see, well, now we'll see Hightower breaking open. And coming up with a reception along the sideline. Good camera work that time by the folks again who are putting this game together for you this afternoon.
Image video, they're doing a tremendous job, as Gary says. 1st down and 10 for LaCrosse. They now on the move. 1st and 10 from the Westminster 37-yard line. Dan Bridges in motion toward you, and Gadel wants to throw again. And again, he's throwing pretty long, and it is incomplete. Almost caught by Reinders, and then almost intercepted on that far side by Pat Shannon.
Shannon and Borowitz on the defense that time. Gadel had the ball thrown well. I think just the defenders kind of pinching off the receiver.
A risky throw there. Shannon did a nice job dropping back into coverage. I know that's a little bit like the completion that Gadel threw to Dean Washington midway through that, or late in the first half, where he threw it through 3 defenders. Washington happened to catch that one, but Gadel was not quite as fortunate this time. 2nd down now. Still 10 yards to go. The ball on the 37-yard line. 2 setbacks behind Gadel, and they're going to run the counter, and this time Reinders gets it, but only picks up about 2, maybe 3 yards. Reinders in to run that play. He comes out, and he's replaced by co-captain Harold Owens. Rick Reinders, the junior running back from LaCrosse Aquinas, a hometown guy who a week ago in the playoff game against Baker got the game-clinching touchdown. He's done a good job for head coach Roger Herring this season.
Some folks trying to stay warm along the sidelines. Cheerleaders who have been going at it this whole game, as well as the football players on the field.
Let's see how LaCrosse does on a 3rd down situation. 3rd down and 8. The ball on the 35. Gadel's got some time. He's got Dean Washington long. Incomplete. Dean Washington dropped the ball on the Westminster 15-yard line, and I'll tell you what, that's a ball that Dean Washington knows maybe he should have caught. It was a perfectly thrown pass by Dennis Gadel. Let's see if the defender might have gotten a hand in there.
That was Lewis Berry on the defense that time, and we'll see as the two match it up. The pass in his hands, and Berry apparently just with contact at the right time, enough to shake it up to fall out of there.
Okay, the Eagles will punt. I believe this is our first punt of the game, and it is not a good one at all. The ball going to go out of bounds at the 29-yard line. The line of scrimmage was the 35-yard line. We're looking at a 6-yard punt. Eric Jan with a 6-yard punt tried to angle it to the sideline, and the sideline got there a little too soon as far as he was concerned. So Westminster comes out of that in pretty good field position. 1st and 10 from their own 28, 29-yard line.
Talk about that football again, as cold as it is, and of course it is a little wet from the perspiration and some of the frost. on the field, and it's very hard to take a foot through that to get much yardage out of it.
Westminster now with a chance to add to its lead. They lead it 20-17 here midway through the third quarter. Throwing long for Brad Tokar, and that's overthrown by about 6 or 7 yards. Again, Tim Hayroth, who's in there in place of the injured Preston Pointer at the cornerback spot, this time had pretty good coverage on him.
McKee, I think, may have just unloaded that one down the field. Andy Protaski was coming in. In fact, McKee pumped once, making Protaski jump a little bit, and then realized, this guy's still on me, I better uncork this.
Well, I think we talked about it in the pregame show, and we'll talk about it again now. Westminster's a team that just doesn't make mistakes that hurt them. They haven't made any today, and that's been the difference. LaCrosse has made a couple of mistakes and dropped the potential big gain pass there, and that's been the difference in the game. Second down, 10 yards to go now. McKee looking to throw over the middle, and it is incomplete. Intended there for Chris Osborne. Clint Byer in on a big hit to break it up. Third down, 10 yards to go.
Nice hit by Byer. You'll see McKee again rolling out and looking downfield for Osborne. Sees him break open, but then here comes Byer in from behind. And the pass dropped. Again, can't emphasize enough how much the cold conditions and the slippery footing out there is playing a factor in the ballgame.
McKee was 7 out of 14 in that first half, and he's been throwing on just about every down here in the third quarter. Third down, 10 yards to go. Westminster, they've been very successful on third down, and McKee has got some room. He's going to run for the first down easily and then some. Out to near midfield. Joe McKee for about 18 or 19 yards.
Now, folks that just saw that run are going to be reminiscent of the old first early years of Terry Bradshaw, when he used to break out of there and run and put his head down, and the coaches on the sideline are standing there right now holding their heads and saying, don't do that, just go down, slide down, we need you in the rest of this ball game. But you'll see McKee come up here and say, I still need some additional yardage here. I'm going to put my head down and go head to head with this guy. Big first down for the Titans.
And again, it comes on a third down and long situation. You have to wonder if maybe LaCrosse would be better off letting Westminster pick up about 8 yards in the first 2 downs and then work it from there. Jumping on the defensive line, LaCrosse. We got a penalty flag on the play, and I think we're going to have offsides LaCrosse. No gain on the play, but I don't think it's going to count.
Looked like the right side of that defensive line did jump a little early that time, but they might have been drawn off. Wait the call from the official.
Offsides, defense. Be first down and 5.
Offsides called against the Eagles.
Okay, we don't get a real good look at it on that play. We do get a look at some of the fans on the Westminster side of the field still sitting in the sunshine, which is probably worth a degree or two. It might be up to about 7 or 8 degrees over there. On this near side in the shade, it's probably down to about 0 at best. First down and 5 now for the Titans, and guess what? McKee is going to throw, and he's going to set up a screen. Wide open out there for good yardage, and a first down is Matt Crooney. Another big game. That's the second time, and we've got a flag on the field. It's the second time today that the Titans have run that screen, and each time it has been wide open.
They do a nice job of setting it up. You allow the defenders to come through a little bit, let them slip past your intended receiver. Crooney just kind of sneaking out to that left side. McKee lofts it out there, a good pickup, but again, a flag on the play.
Yeah, apparently some sort of late hit on the play.
Foul. Personal foul on the defense, automatic first down.
These are the kind of mistakes that LaCrosse really can't afford at this point. And again, you wonder if they're sliding into the play and just getting caught on the instance. But again, you got to keep those kind of things in check. Crooney with a nice pickup, gets the ball, follow his block, and is going to pick up some nice yardage downfield.
It looks like Hayroth coming in there with a late hit, number 31. So the Titans have it now, again in scoring position, 1st and 10 from the LaCrosse 16-yard line. The shotgun has worked, and the Titans are going to stay with it. Throwing in the end zone, long overthrown, out of the end zone, incomplete.
Chris Osborne asking for a push that time, but that ball was thrown well out of the back of the end zone. I don't think, in fact, the push actually might have gotten him closer to it that time.
A critical series here. Westminster with a touchdown and an extra point could go up by 10 here with 7:58 to go in the third. I'm sure LaCrosse wouldn't mind giving up a field goal, but they want to stay within a touchdown. So this is a pivotal series right now.
Interesting to see exactly what will happen on this play, but we do see Foley and Tokar going wide to the left.
The Titans apparently have simply abandoned the running game. They're throwing on every down out of the shotgun. Here is Makia again under pressure, ducks a man, pumps, gets to the outside, and he's going to be close to the first down, probably about, maybe he's got it. He might be a yard short at most. But again, Akia really sensing when he's getting rushed and where it's coming from, ducking out of there. It looked like another possible sack, but he managed to get out of there again. Sean Starks had a shot at it.
Manages to slip away from it, then fakes the pass, gets in a couple extra yards downfield. Some of the guys on the offensive line kind of joke sometimes about Joe having eyes in the ear holes of his helmet. He just seems to know when those guys are coming in from the side.
Okay, he is short of the first down, so it's going to be third down at a little bit less than a yard. For the first time in a long time, the Titans come up to the line with quarterback Joe Makia under center. They'll run out of the I formation. Makia just going to keep it, and looks like he's going to pick up the first down.
Basically taking it and keeping it right underneath center that time. And lunging forward, and still no official signal as to whether or not they have the first down.
Roger Herring wondering if he got it. If he did, it'll be first down and goal at the 6-yard line, and if he didn't, it'll be fourth down and probably just a matter of inches. I think he got it, Gary.
As they stretch out the chain, I think they're short.
Not a matter of inches. I think it's a matter of about 1 inch or less. It's very close. You look at our score. Westminster leading this. They have outscored LaCrosse 20-3. Since LaCrosse took a 14-0 lead pretty early in the football game. Big play right here, obviously, with 7:42 to go. Westminster fourth down and about an inch or two, and they're going for the first down here.
I don't think there's anybody sitting down right now here at Fawcett Stadium.
Makia going to sneak it, and he's going to fall forward. He's going to get the first down, I believe.
There was some movement on the interior of that defensive line that time, but they didn't cross the plane.
First down. Makia picks up another first down on the ground. It's the second one he's picked up on this drive. A little less spectacular than his 19-yard scramble, but nonetheless just as effective. First and goal now. The ball spotted just outside the LaCrosse 5-yard line, and Westminster now with a great opportunity to get a little bit of a cushion here. Split wide to the near side is Chris Osborne. Foley split out about 8 yards to the top of your screen. Now he comes in motion back toward the quarterback, Makia. Makia wants to throw again. Firing, he's got a man, and it is, let's see, they're going to call a touchdown. A touchdown by Chris Osborne. He dropped the ball, but the official says it is after he had possession in the end zone. They rule it a touchdown. A 6-yard touchdown pass from Joe Makia to Osborne, and Westminster now goes up by 9 points.
LaCrosse not happy with the call. Makia fighting Osborne, and he has to hold it for 1, 2, well, close, but the official on top of it, they give him the touchdown.
It's a close call. They call it a touchdown, 26-17 midway through the third quarter here. The Titans, we take another look at it, and it's really tough to tell, Gary.
It's almost like a step and a half, which is close to 2. The defender had in order to get to Osborne before the ball slipped out of there, but now the all-important extra point.
High snap, the kick is up, and Dansu makes it. So, with 6:50 to go here, Westminster now goes up by 10 points.
Take a look at that catch one more time. Osborne with the football. 1, 2, and it's sliding out of there. But apparently, in the official's eyes, having it long enough for the touchdown. We'll see it there again.
Celebration party
Boy, you got to give the Titans a lot of credit. They weren't having a lot of success early in the game on the ground, and they recognize that, and they've said, hey, we can throw the ball on LaCrosse, and basically about 90% of the time since early in the game, that's what they've been doing. They've been throwing or else scrambling out of the throwing formation, and it has been very effective.
They put the shotgun in this week, and again, the primary reason they decided to go to it was they were worried about Joe McKee's hand with the ligament damage in his thumb, whether or not he'd be able to take all those snaps. This is the first time they've really worked with it this year.
You'd never know. You'd never know. They're doing a heck of a job. Dan Sue set to kick off. Again, Harold Owens and Dan Bridges deep to receive it. And let's see, this one's going to bounce to Dan Bridges, who takes it on the 25-yard line and gets out to about the 34-yard line. And LaCrosse will take over there with 6:46 to go here in the third quarter. And Westminster has come out on fire here in the second half. They trailed 17-14 at halftime, but they have scored 2 touchdowns here in quarter number 3.
LaCrosse right now really has their work cut out. They're not only trailing in the ball game, but right now the momentum is definitely in the Titans' favor. And it's important for them to start churning out that yardage again on the ground and start swinging some of that momentum back the Eagles' way.
Bell Richards shifts to the top of your screen on the right side, and Gatel's going to give the ball straight ahead to Kyle Reddy, and he lost the football. It's loose on the field, and Westminster has it again. The Titans come up with another big play. Kyle Reddy put it on the ground. The Titans have it back.
Lewis Berry comes up with a football, and you talk about breaks. The momentum definitely right now in favor of the blue and white as Westminster comes up with a fumble.
It didn't look like Reddy really got hit all that hard on this play. I think Harold Owens actually inadvertently with his shoulder pad knocked it out of his hands.
Kevin Blazer was working against Owens on the defense that time, and I think just the fact that Owens was stopped there and the two collided, the ball squirted out of there, and Lewis Berry able to pick it up for Westminster. They have a big opportunity here in the third quarter.
Again, out of the shotgun, 1st and 10 from the 32-yard line, and talk about pressure on a defense. LaCrosse is facing it right now. John Wilsius comes in, and the Eagles get their first sack of the football game. It's been a long time in coming, and now we've got a penalty flag on the field, and I think they may call Wilsius for an illegal demonstration. I'm not quite sure.
Wilsius and Starks were the two defenders in there with the pressure that time. And you see the signal, the call against LaCrosse, and it's those key mistakes that have been costing them here this afternoon. Look at the sack one more time. McKee really without much time to look downfield.
Well, let's see if they hold the replay here. We'll see what Wilsius does after that.
Red ball, personal foul. Automatic.
Boy, I tell you, that's a real tough one there. I don't know if I agree with that. He turned to the home crowd, the LaCrosse crowd, and kind of celebrated it.
Traditionally, the NAIA is much more strict on those type of rules than the NCAA is. The NCAA is a little bit more of a flashy league. But, yeah, you do question that a little bit. Just kind of whooping it up a little bit, but nothing like a Mark Gastineau dance at center field.
So it will be a first down for the Titans on the LaCrosse 25-yard line. This time they are going to run it, and Tokar gets nothing. Maybe back to the line of scrimmage, and he's brought down there by number 86, Sean Starks.
Starks, one of the guys in on the sack on the previous play, and I think he felt, well, it's time for a little payback here.
We've got 5:57 to go here in the third quarter, and Westminster has been absolutely incredible here in the second half. They lead the game 27-17. Second down, 10 yards to go. John Wilsius, the guy who got flagged for 15 yards for that illegal demonstration, came out of the game for one play. Now he's back in there, and I don't expect to see him doing that again if he sacks someone. Here's the shotgun, another good snap, and McKee throwing over the middle, and it is incomplete. It looked for a minute like the Eagles had a chance to intercept that. John Lauscher looked like he had good position, and then I'm not sure anybody really got a good look at the football on that play.
Lauscher might even have been surprised that the ball was coming his way. You see McKee drop back, and again, you can almost see the eyes looking downfield. Firing over the middle, Lauscher's going to get a hand on it, but maybe surprised by the speed that the ball picked up coming down there. Didn't expect it to get there that quickly and was unable to get the hands on it. Good defensive effort, though, by LaCrosse.
It's been a good defensive day for LaCrosse, with the exception of third down. 3rd and 10 for the Titans. McKee's got all kinds of time. Now he's under pressure. He's running out of there, and he's going to be hit and dropped, knocked out of bounds. He got hit after the play, but I think everybody was just sliding around trying to stop on the play. He's going to be about 3, maybe 4 yards short of the first down. Let's take a look at this again. Again, he got pretty good time, but the La-Crosse defensive front four finally got through there. And
good pressure from behind from Dan Steele. And eventually it was Mike Bright coming up to at least knock him out of bounds.
McKee is dangerous. Had Bright not made that nice play, I think McKee was going to make it for another 10-yard run and a first down. So fourth down and about 3.5 yards to go. 5:21 to go here in the third quarter. And Westminster is not going to try to kick the field goal. They're going to go for the first down. They'll run out of the shotgun. Another big play here. McKee sprinting to the near side, throwing complete for the first down, and a fumble. No fumble. They're going to say that Tokar was down and he picked up the first down, a gain of about 6 yards on the play.
That's a big first down for Westminster. You see it again, McKee looking quickly, waiting for his back to get down there and just get out into the flat a little bit, and then hits him with the pass. You see there on the replay, the ball was knocked loose by hitting the ground. See it again from this angle, maybe you get a little better shot of it. Tokar with the reception, going to go down, and boom, there the ball pops out of there. Good call by the official.
First down again for the Titans from the La-Crosse 13-yard line. They'll send 2 receivers to the top of your screen, Beggy and Foley. And Tokar gets a snap, and he's looking at the far side, and it is caught over there by Tokar inside the 10, inside the 5, very close to another Titan first down.
I don't know how McKee completed that pass. Mike Bright was in between Tokar and McKee, and somehow he just kind of looped it right over Bright's arm. It almost zipped it right past his shoulder. It's kind of pass they teach you in basketball. You see Bright almost like a basketball hoop there, and the ball completed to Tokar. Just a tremendous effort all the way around. But the Titans come up with a big play.
Head coach Joe Fusco's got to like what he's seen here in the second half out of his ball club. First, and make it second and about 1 from the 4-yard line. Getting to the outside for the touchdown. Matt Crooney untouched into the corner of the end zone, and the Titans have really opened this thing up here with 4:41 to go in quarter number 3.
The other fullback that time was the key man, Mark Norcutt, going right to that left side and just looking for anybody he could hit. Watch him cut out of the backfield. You see Norcutt go diving in there, knock the guy over his own defender. And the other fullback, Matt Crooney, takes it in for the touchdown.
Boy, once they got going, this Westminster team really got going. They're in high gear. They're in overdrive right now. Dansu in to attempt another extra point. Low snap. They're going to try for the 2-point conversion, and they're going to get it. I don't know if it was a fake or a low snap. I kind of think it was a fake. I'm not sure, but making the catch for 2 points is Mark Norcutt.
Same guy that had the block for the touchdown, and he's already off to the sidelines. I don't even think he took a breather after making the 2-point conversion. But I think Santorio just having a little problem with the hold, and anytime there's a broken play, Coach Fusco has instructed them to pick it up and go with it and see if you can at least get 2 out of it. And that time the Titans successful. And Fusco showing his happiness on the sidelines a little bit. 35-17, Westminster on top.
And remember, at one point, La-Crosse led this football game 14-zip. They've been outscored 35-3, and it's been a long time since something like that has happened to this Eagle football team.
Key right now for La-Crosse is not to get down. They know that they certainly are a fourth quarter football team as well. I believe they scored 103 points in the fourth quarter alone this season. Right now trailing 35-17. A lot of time yet in the game.
Again, we've said it all game long. Turnovers really the key. The Kyle Reddy fumble led directly to that touchdown. The Eagles lost an opportunity on the first drive of the game when Harold Owens coughed it up inside the 5-yard line, and things have just gone from bad to worse here. Here's Dan Bridges still on his feet. Almost gets out of there. Makes a nice return out to about the 42-yard line. He hurdled one man, and had he gotten by him, I think he may have gone.
Mark Michael down on the ground for the Titans was able to reach up and make the stop. But now this La-Crosse offense needs to take hold to climb back into this ball game. And the Westminster defense, of course, on the other hand, they want to come up with a big stop and get that offense right back out on the field.
For LaCrosse to have a realistic shot at this, you would think they'd like to get in the end zone once here in the third quarter and make it a little bit closer. And, of course, the Westminster defense knows that, and LaCrosse probably going to be forced to go to the air a little bit more than maybe they'd like to. Gadel going to try it right now. Nobody open, and Gadel throws finally to Dan Bridges, and we've got a penalty flag. Complete at the Westminster 45-yard line, but we've got a flag, and I think this one's going to go against LaCrosse. I'm not sure.
Might have had an illegal man downfield. Gadel rolling out a long time that time, and finally finding his receiver coming back to him. But the flag was thrown by the line judge. Usually that means one of those guys a little too far downfield.
Referee Nick Define talking things over. Here's the call.
Just making sure he has it right before he turns that mic on.
We have a personal foul on the offense. The player's ejected.
I don't know if we'll be able to catch that one or not.
Wow, the player is ejected, and I think the player ejected is number 72. Sure, number 72. Watch Terry Strofe here, hitting number 93 right in the head. 15 yards and an automatic ejection. Paul D'Antonio is the recipient of that shot, and Strofe is out of the football game. That is a big mistake. Not only do you lose the 15-yard completion to Bridges, they take it back 15 yards the other way. So what you've got there is a 30-yard mistake, and you lose probably your best offensive lineman.
A big, big mistake right now for LaCrosse, and a costly one here in a national championship ball game. Sometimes in the pits there, a lot of that stuff goes on, and an excellent job again.
Offense will penalize it from the previous spot. The player is ejected. Still first down.
Again, an excellent job by our camera crews to pick up that right cross to the chin.
There's Terry Strofe, not at all happy, and that's the end of his career, and I'm sure that's not really the way he'd like it to come to an end. But he's done. He's done for the afternoon. So LaCrosse now really backed up, faced with a first down and 30 yards to go. Ball all the way back to their own 26-yard line. We're down to 4:10 to go here in the third quarter. Westminster leading the championship game 35-17. Gadel back in the pocket, hit, fumbles, the ball loose on the field. Harold Owens trying to get it, and he finally does, but it's all the way back at the LaCrosse 7-yard line. Gadel under heavy pressure, lost the ball.
Again, good pressure. Kevin Blazer in there. Dan Shorts coming in. And also Paul D'Antonio for the Westminster Titans. Gadel without much time even to look downfield that time. See it again. He's dropping back, rolling to his right. Here comes Dan Shorts. Ball squirts out of there. Owens tried to pick it up rather than just fall on it, and now he's going to do everything he can to get back to that football.
You get an idea of what kind of poor footing they're trying to deal with down there, because Harold, once he started to lean, had absolutely no chance of making a cut. It is second down and 44 yards to go, and LaCrosse going to play it safe. They're just going to run the ball. The delay, Kyle Reddy, the ball carrier, picks up a few yards, but he is still well short of the first down. Picked up about 4, making it third down and 40 yards to go. What do you call in a situation like this, Gary?
I think you call someone who knows a little more than the folks involved here. Look up to the sky and ask what you do, I think.
Jim Sosha and Gary Swanson with you from Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio. Third quarter of the NAIA Division II championship game. LaCrosse now third down and 40 yards to go. Let's see what they do here. They're going to throw it. That's no surprise. They're going to try to throw it. Gadel over the middle. The hook and lateral play to Harold Owens. Harold still on his feet. A well-designed play, but would have been better had it been just third down and 25 yards to go for LaCrosse. They pick up a good chunk of the yardage, but they are still far short of the first down.
See it again. It's a play you don't see too often, but when you do, it's kind of exciting. And LaCrosse ran it well, but as Jim mentioned, well short of the first down. First reception, second one there. Good defensive effort there by Westminster to pick up the pitch man. And Owens just keeping those legs driving to get additional yardage. But again, well short of the first down. They'll have to punt it away.
They will kick it. And this time Jan gets off a little better kick than he did last time. Fair catch bobbled, but finally pulled in by Aiken. And Westminster again with another penalty flag on the field will get tremendous field position.
Scott Lang asking some questions right now as you see the score and our time remaining in the third. 1:41 left in the third quarter. LaCrosse right now, just plain and simple, appears to be frustrated, and the more the frustration comes...
15 yards, first down.
You hear the call there again against LaCrosse. The more the frustration comes into play, the more mistakes seem to come into play, and right now LaCrosse seems to be battling themselves more than the Westminster Titans.
First half was relatively mistake-free, but things have really kind of deteriorated as far as the penalty flags and a few late hits go here. 35-17. Jim Socher from WXOW TV in LaCrosse, along with Gary Swanson from WPIC Radio in Sharon, Pennsylvania, bringing you the play-by-play and all the exciting action of the NAIA Division II championship game. Brad Tokar with a run, picks up about 4 yards, and he's hit and dropped there. Mike Bright, one of a couple of LaCrosse defenders, in on the tackle.
Downfield, we had some more extracurriculars going on between Dave Foley and Corey Kern. But basically just a lot of words exchanged right after the play.
The old clock keeps ticking right now, and right now it is a big ally of Westminster. We're down to 1:10 to go in the third. They have an 18-point lead, so LaCrosse now to win this football game needs not 2, but 3 scores. They're going to run again. This time Tokar running to the left. Not much room there at all. The LaCrosse defensive line with some nice pursuit. No gain on the play, bringing up a third down at about 7 yards to go.
Good coverage. Just basic sweep action that time by the Titans. And LaCrosse reading the play well, sliding along that line of scrimmage and not allowing much of a gain at all.
Another passing situation for the Titans, and this is the type of play where they have really excelled all afternoon long, when they run out of that shotgun and can kind of spread out the field. LaCrosse has had some trouble containing everyone, and when they have been able to do that, quarterback Joe McKeah has found a hole and managed to run for some key first downs. Again, they're out of the shotgun. McKeah again going to run for the first down, and he's going to get it inside the 30-yard line down to about the 27.
Again, you see McKeah putting that head down. I think he's figuring right now that this is going to be his last ball game as a senior as well, and there's no games to protect yourself for. McKeah taking the snap, again seeing the middle of that pocket break open, and just deciding to take it himself. You see the head go down. One way of protecting yourself, I guess, you got that helmet on your head, but you got to be careful sometimes. You can take a pretty good shot there and think it's Monday instead of Sunday or Saturday or whatever day it is.
Okay, just 15 minutes of football to go. That's the end of the third quarter. We'll be back with more of the NAIA championship football game after this. It is Westminster leading 35-17.
The year is 1855. The people of Lawrence County are just getting on their feet. And you know who's here to help them? First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania. Since then, we've grown into Lawrence County's largest bank with the biggest interest in our community, with more services, more employees. In fact, our deposits are still loaned locally to help our area prosper. So when you need a strong partner, join the tradition. You'll feel right at home at First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania.
Westminster College. This name has come to represent a wide array of opportunities. Westminster offers concentrated academic attention as well as resources to help stimulate individual growth. Westminster has a strong Greek system, and 85% of students who apply to medical schools are accepted. As well as a top-rated academic school, Westminster is also known for its athletic accomplishments. Westminster College offering academic excellence and a chance for personal growth. Start creating your future at Westminster College.
Back live from Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio, home of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Also, of course, home of the NAIA Division II National Championship game between LaCrosse and Westminster. And right now, Westminster really has the upper hand. After falling behind 14-0 in the first half, they have come back to outscore LaCrosse 35-3, and they've really dominated the football. Well, I don't know if they've dominated the game statistically, but they have taken advantage of some key lacrosse mistakes. I guess that's a better way to put it, and thus the big lead. First down and 10 for the Titans from the 28-yard line of LaCrosse, and McKee going to give it to his deep back, Brad Tokar, and he'll go for about 3 yards down to the 25.
You mentioned them taking advantage of lacrosse mistakes, and again, a lot of them are mental mistakes by lacrosse. Just the personal fouls alone here in the third quarter, creating a lot of extra opportunity for Westminster, and the Titans, of course, a well-coached ball club, taking advantage of them. Right now, for lacrosse, they just want to get things settled down and get back to playing their own ball game.
Two receivers split way out to the near side. That's Mike Beggy and Dave Foley. Now Beggy coming back in motion, and they're going to give the ball to Tokar, trying to get outside. Now goes back inside, and not much doing inside.
Tokar is the all-time leading rusher at Westminster. 1,000 yards plus both last year and this year, and he still has another year to go. Just an amazing, wiry style running back for the Titans.
Boy, that's a piece of good news for next year's opponents as far as Westminster is concerned. They're happy to hear that. He's the kind of guy, when you have to play against him, it seems like he's been there forever.
Sometimes you say, geez, did he graduate last year? But they're back again.
Here's another third down play for the Titans. 3rd and 6 from the 25-yard line. Makia over the middle, complete, and it is all the way down to the 2-yard line. A beautiful catch by Chris Osborne.
And you see Osborne, he's upset with himself. Just a tremendous grab, and you see the speed there. We'll see it again here on the replay. Makia with a nice ball, hitting him on the run. Nice grab, and he just is fighting himself now to save his balance and get into the goal line. And you're going to see, well, they cut it short there. He pounds the turf as he gets up. Just unhappy. He thought he had pay dirt that time. But again, Westminster with a great opportunity. Lacrosse right now has to be asking themselves a lot of questions defensively.
35-17, down to 13 minutes, 15 seconds to go. Westminster threatening to really open it up. Loose ball. Ball's loose, and I think the Titans came out of there with it.
Bit of a mix-up that time. Roger Kreider, the pulling guard on the left-hand side, cutting in to pull to the right, as some of the winter activities being enjoyed on the hill here at Fawcett Stadium.
I guess it must be officially winter now. If you've got that kind of stuff going on, it's winter.
That guy's got pretty good speed going down.
Okay, 2nd down and goal. Loss of about 1 on the fumble. The ball on the 3-yard line again. Titans will run out of that wishbone formation. Play action, and Makia wants to throw. He does, and it is complete to his tight end for the touchdown.
Bob Bishop hauling in the 6-point catch that time. We haven't heard from him from a football standpoint throughout the afternoon. Done a lot of blocking, but that time the Titans decided to go to a guy who hasn't been in the statistics.
And another penalty on the field. It's going to be called against LaCrosse, and the preliminary call is roughing the passer. Let's look at it there. You could just see number 76, I believe, John Wilsius, rushing the quarterback, and they called it a late hit, and obviously the Titans will decline that. They'll take the touchdown. They now lead 41-17.
He gave you the wrong name there. It's Rob Coker with the catch.
Roughing the passer. Touchdown's good. We'll penalize it on the kickoff.
And as you hear, the penalty declined there. But Kokar making a nice grab in the end zone and just able to break open from the tight end position.
Well, let's see if they kick it this time or if they fake it again. Dansu this time will kick it. It looks good, and it is. So with 12:27 to go, Westminster now opens up a very big lead. They're up 42-17, and this game has completely turned around now, Gary.
Some folks on the sidelines without shirts on. Obviously, he's done with finals.
There's a guy who spent every available dime on tuition, and he doesn't have a cent left for some winter clothing. We'll have to try to ship some down to him.
Unbelievable. I don't think anybody expected the tide to turn the way it has here in the second half. And LaCrosse, again, they're beating themselves here in the second half. Don't want to take anything away from the Titans. They're playing very strong second half, as you see from the statistics there. especially in the passing department. 110 yards for Joe McKee and the Titans. But LaCrosse is continually costing themselves penalty yards.
Westminster had the ball more than 10 minutes in that third quarter, and that's exactly what the Eagles didn't want to see. To get back in the game, they needed the ball, and they really did not have it very much at all in that third quarter. Well, it's a 25-point Westminster lead with just 12:27 to go here in the football game, and barring a catastrophe, it looks like the Titans are in tremendous position to win their second straight championship and their 5th overall.
Unbelievable, the success they've had with the football program. It's uncanny. It seems like whenever they do reach the national championship, they end up making it back the following year, and they kept that statistic here this season. And right now appear to be headed to a second national championship as well.
Little squib kick is returned by Keith Dryden outside the LaCrosse 30-yard line all the way out to the 32, and that's where the Eagles will start. And boy, do they have their work cut out for them at this stage.
Obviously, I think we're going to see Gadel again going to the passing game. And they have had some success with it here, as we saw in the latter parts of the third quarter. But the penalties have been the problem. He is putting together a strong and quick drive here in the fourth.
3 wide receivers in the game, Hightower, Bridges, and Washington. And Gadel throwing long to the far side for Bridges. He's got him down to about the 44-yard line of Westminster. They'll spot it at the 42, and that's a good start for LaCrosse. Granted, they have a long way to go, but Bridges running another good route. He's been open quite a few times so far today.
Nice pickup, and Gadel finding him as he breaks open. Looking downfield, waiting for him to spring to the outside, and there, as the cut goes, Gadel releases the football. Bridges hauls it in for the catch. Newberry there to knock him out of bounds for Westminster. But a big first down for LaCrosse. That's the type of play they need here to get back into the ballgame.
Pete Hightower splits wide to the near side. And Gadel again is going to throw it, or he's going to try to throw it over the middle. He's got Dean Washington. It is deflected away and almost intercepted down there at about the 15-yard line. A nice defensive play by Catanzarite.
Jeff Catanzarite was kind of playing center fielder that time. Titans showed blitz. They sent everybody up, and that means Catanzarite was dropping back in the safety position. And as you see from our end zone camera, Catanzarite stepping back up in there and trying to get the handle on it after he had knocked it away in the initial part of that defensive play there, but just couldn't come up with the interception.
Westminster still up by 25 points. We're down to 12 minutes, 9 seconds to go here in the ball game, and LaCrosse trying somehow, some way to get back into it, but they've got a long way to go. Gadel's got time, and again, he's throwing long, and this one is almost intercepted again. The intended man down there, Dean Washington, but he never really had much of a chance to make the catch. The closest man to the ball was Andre Borowitz down there. Had another opportunity possibly at picking up an interception.
Gadel might have been better off that time to tuck the ball under his arm and run out to the far sideline. Most of the defense was flooded into that right flat where the receivers were, and there was only one man in front of him when he uncorked the ball. He might have been able to pick up some yardage himself that time.
So it is now 3rd down and 10 from the 43, and Gadel obviously going to try to throw the ball again. Again, good protection, and this one is caught there by Pete Hightower. Good enough for the first down. He's inside the 30-yard line. We've got a penalty on the play back at the original line of scrimmage.
Pat Shannon and Andre Borowitz, the defenders that time, and Gadel able to thread the ball between them, but again, a penalty on the field.
Personal foul on the defense.
Kind of a Bronx cheer from the LaCrosse fans below us. A personal foul. That's the first one called on Westminster.
And again, a mistake that the Titans really don't need here.
Personal foul, defense, automatic first down.
See the play again as Gadel's rolling to his right. Pass downfield and threaded in between the needle there.
We didn't get a good look at the penalty. It happened somewhere in the line as the Eagles were pass blocking for Dennis Gadel, and what they'll do is they'll tack that 15 yards on to the end of the play, so it's about a 29-yard net gain for LaCrosse. They'll spot the ball inside the Westminster 15-yard line. LaCrosse now, the clock starts ticking again. We're down to 11 minutes and 46 seconds to go. Westminster leading it 42-17. LaCrosse trying to get in the end zone. It's been a long time since they've been there. Gadel, a little bit of play action, now throwing in the corner of the end zone, and he's got a touchdown. Dan Bridges again on that out pattern, wide open, and LaCrosse finally gets back on the scoreboard.
Titans were in a zone defense that time, and LaCrosse taking advantage of it. I don't know if Gadel actually called an audible from the line or not.
Here's Gadel, and had plenty of time, and it's kind of surprising how wide open Bridges was on this play.
Split the zone. Lewis Berry getting back there at the last minute, but even after the play, Berry coming back to the huddle and asking what happened on that play. Wide open in the end zone for the touchdown.
The Eagles line up as if they're going to kick it. Let's see if they do or fake it. Schumacher has it up and has it through the upright. So LaCrosse makes it a little closer, at least, with 11:34 to go here in quarter number 4. Westminster leads this one 42-24. It's an 18-point game. Okay, we're going to take a break. We'll be back with more of the NAIA Championship football game. Westminster, as I said, leading this one 42-24.
Hi, I'm Don DeMarco from Titan Chevrolet, the home of champions. I'd like to take this time to congratulate Coach Joe Fusco, his staff, and the Westminster Titans for their record-setting year, and as they go for their 4th national championship. Good luck, guys.
Go for it. Titan Chevrolet, 138 South Market Street, New Wilmington. Radio and television station managers surveyed nationally listed 2 prerequisites for future broadcasters: practical experience and a good liberal arts education. That's why Westminster College graduates do well in the competitive broadcasting job market. For a tour of Westminster's fine broadcasting facilities and to learn more about the value of a liberal arts education for future broadcasters, call the Westminster College admissions office. Experience and liberal arts await the future broadcaster at Westminster College.
It's a 42-24 Westminster lead. With 11:24, the LaCrosse Eagles have just scored, and you'd think they must have at least considered the possibility of an onside kick here. Let's see what they do. Schumacher going to squib it, and the ball is not going to go the required 10 yards. Westminster picks it up on the sidelines and almost had an opportunity to run it back. Matt Raich.
Mike Zick, one of the lacrosse people, trying to get his hands on the football. You'll see the replay here on the onside kick, and they got the spin they wanted, but it just kind of carried them a little bit too far to the left.
It started off looking real good, but kind of fizzled out after about 7 or 8 yards. So the Titans will get it with tremendous field position. They spot the ball on the LaCrosse 42-yard line.
Chance to take with an onside kick, but right now LaCrosse has to take chances, and we may see some defensively here. They're not primarily a blitzing team, but they have to do something to break up the passing game of Westminster right now. They need to climb back into the ball game, so I think we'll see LaCrosse a little bit out of their game plan.
It has been very easy the last 2 quarters for Westminster to move the ball, and they've run primarily out of that shotgun. You don't see it here, but that's the formation that really did the damage. They'll go with the I formation. Brad Tokar again, as he's been all day when they've run it. The deep back, but this time they go straight ahead. I think that might be the first time we've seen Matt Crooney on that particular play, and it was very effective. He picks up about 12 or 13 yards.
Quick hitting pop straight up the middle, right off guard and center. And a big first down for Westminster. Take a look at it, straight through the hole. He's in there instantly, and right in the defensive backfield. Good open field tackle that time by LaCrosse's safety, but Matt Crooney with a nice first down for Westminster.
Clock continues to move down to 11:11 to go here in the football game. Westminster going for its 2nd straight NAIA Division II National Championship, and here's Crooney again, and this time picks up good yardage again, about 4, maybe 5 yards off the right side.
LaCrosse trying to strip the football out after the play there, but this is Joe Fusco football right now. The Titans seem to be in control with a 42-24 lead. Right now, they're going to put their fullbacks in there, let them bang out the yardage, and just try and run the ticks off the clock here. Wind it down in the fourth quarter and hopefully come home again with their second national championship.
Lacrosse coach Roger Herring saying, guys, get the football back. We got to come up with a big play to get the ball back. And so far, Westminster has not turned it over, and that's been probably the biggest key to the football game. 2nd and 5, ball on the 23-yard line. Again, the Titans spreading out the field with 3 wide receivers, but they're going to run it again. And Crooney gets to the outside. He's got the first down inside the 20 down to about the 16-yard line. Crooney on a play that looked like it was designed to go off tackle, saw that there was not much room there at all, and made a nice little juke move to the outside to pick up the first down.
Got a nice block from his leading man, Brad Tokar, that time, allowing him to spring to the outside. Crooney gets across that first down marker. And the Titans churning out the yardage. Exactly what they want to do. They want to wind the clock down here in the fourth.
We're under 10 minutes to play. The Titans lead it 42-24 with another first down on the LaCrosse 16-yard line. This time Crooney up the middle for no gain. Hit hard there at the line of scrimmage by Gary Beck. Freshman linebacker from Genoa making the play. Gary Beck, you lacrosse fans back in Wisconsin will remember, made what may have been the biggest play of the lacrosse season, at least the regular season. They were on the road at Eau Claire, trailing the game, and Eau Claire had an opportunity to get a game-clinching touchdown, and they threw a pass. It was deflected. Beck intercepted and raced 90 yards for a touchdown. Later intercepted another one, and that may have been what got lacrosse the conference championship. He made another good play there. They'd like to see him intercept and get another touchdown, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Here's Tokar making a cutback, and I think he is gone. He is. A touchdown for Brad Tokar, untouched from 17 yards with 9:03 to go, and you'd have to say this thing is just about over now.
That has to be the clincher. Taken right out of the play was John Wilsius that time for lacrosse. And as he went down, Tokar cut back behind him. See if you can see it. You see him slide there, and Tokar with a vision to cut back inside of him and just goes right in for the touchdown.
Oh, the Westminster fans have seen that hundreds of times. The lacrosse fans hadn't really seen it all day today. They knew that he was a cutback runner, and that's really the first time he had an opportunity to make his best move, and he did it well. The kick is good, but we've got another penalty on the play. Let's wait and see what the call is.
Lacrosse had a good deal of pressure inside that time on the extra point. And the call is going to go against lacrosse.
I think the call is too many men on the field. I think lacrosse with 12 men on the field.
Kind of mistakes again at this point in the season. You hate to see them happen, but again, with some folks that have checked out of the ball game, you get different folks in there that haven't been maybe in that position all season long, and those type of things happen.
You get to this stage of the game and you're down big, 48-24, you know, what the heck, try something else. I'm sure that wasn't the call from head coach Roger Herring, but things have just not gone very well for the Eagles today. On the other hand, they've gone very, very well for the Westminster Titans.
Westminster right now, as we mentioned, very well in control, 48-24. The key right now is not to let up. Keep the defense in there and keep them going strong. Still 9 minutes. You would say that the game is clinched at this point, but there have been stranger things happen in the past, especially at this field, with some of the high school games and, of course, some of the preseason Hall of Fame bowl games that have been wild up here.
With the ghosts of all those old-time pro football greats kind of flying around this field, who knows what could happen. And who would have thought that on a cold day with an ice-covered field that we would have seen this many points, 73 points scored with still 9 minutes to go in the football game. I wouldn't have believed that.
I don't think many people figured it at all, or the point differential that we have right now between the two teams.
Okay, Dansu will kick off, and Harold Owens is back deep to receive, along with, I think that's Dean Washington picking it up on the 10-yard line, out to the 15, still on his feet, has some room, and has some big yardage all the way out to the 45-yard line. That's the first time we've seen Dean Washington returning. I think that was Dean Washington, wasn't it?
Yeah, Don Lee was the return man that time.
Not number 80, that's number 90, Don Lee, and that's the first time we've seen him return a kick in a long time, and makes a nice little move here, and he was very close to taking it all the way.
Good camera angle that time from, again, in the end zone. And coming up to make the stop for Westminster was Rob Dansu, the kicker. Otherwise, he might have gone all the way.
Okay, LaCrosse, well, they haven't given up. You've got to give him credit for that, and here's Dennis Gadel. Nice play fake. Wants to throw long, and he is looking for Dean Washington this time, and it is just a little overthrown down at about the 20-yard line, incomplete. Very nice play action fake that time by Gadel.
Good play all the way around. Gadel even with a nice tight spiral down the field, but the ball just a little bit long. Washington stretched to get it, but couldn't quite reach it. But they're going to have to keep airing it out like that if they want to climb back into this game.
A tough situation for the LaCrosse offense because obviously with a 25-point lead, Westminster knows that the only way really that LaCrosse has a reasonable chance of getting back into the ballgame is throwing and probably throwing long. And so they're looking for that right now. It's going to be very difficult to complete anything downfield. Kyle Reddy, Harold Owens in the backfield behind Gadel. That's Dan Bridges coming in motion toward you. And Gadel straight back in the pocket this time, throwing over the middle, and it is almost... I don't want to say almost intercepted, but the defender, Todd Fedor, almost got a hand on it.
Yeah, actually, 3 Titan defenders right in the line there with that football. Been a tough afternoon for Gadel, especially here in the second half, because right now everything's riding on his shoulders.
He was very effective in the first half, 5 out of 8 for good yardage, 78 yards, and he hasn't been bad at all here in the second half. But as Gary said, just so much pressure on him right now. It's tough when you're 25 points down to get an effective passing game going to get you back in the ball game.
Sophomore quarterback too. He's got a lot of good years ahead of him here for LaCrosse.
Oh, Gadel this time never has a chance. He is hit in the backfield. A big play by Brian DiLorenzo.
Sophomore out of Newcastle, came in untouched from the left side. And like you said, Jim, Gadel not even a chance to concentrate on looking downfield. You'll see DiLorenzo come straight in. Nobody even touched him. He just slipped right in between 2 offensive players. Kyle Reddy looking at the man on the outside and letting DiLorenzo slip inside, and thus the big sack.
We're down to 8:10 to go in the ball game, and LaCrosse will punt. That's Jan with the kick. It's going to hit and land at about the 38-yard line, and that's about where it's going to die. LaCrosse downs it at about the 40, and even 8 minutes to go. Westminster with a 49-24 lead, and Gary Swanson, you can see that the folks on the other side of the field, the Westminster players and fans, they sense it now. They're pretty sure that they've got another championship locked up, and you can see on this side of the field, the near side as we look down, the heads are hanging kind of low on the LaCrosse sideline, and some of those Eagle fans who were standing early in the game have finally decided, hey, maybe we should just sit down and wait this one out.
It's a tough one for LaCrosse fans, especially the folks back in Wisconsin, but really to make it to a national championship game is nothing to hang your head about. Both of these teams have a lot to be proud of just to be competing in this game here this afternoon.
1st and 10 for the Titans from their own 40-yard line, and we've got a couple of new ball players in there. First of all, the new quarterback, that's Dean Santorio. First time that we've seen him up under center so far today, I think, and it's good to get him a little playoff experience, although he is a senior, isn't he?
Santorio, I believe, yes, will be graduating as well this year. Primarily an option quarterback. You won't see him throw the ball much, and of course with Westminster's lead, I don't think we'll see him throw the ball too much either. But he has seen action as the backup this season. Also, he's been used quite a bit as a wideout. He's got good speed. And you may see him run the football here a little bit for the Titans.
No gain for Norcutt on the last play. And Santorio this time going to roll out, and I think he's going to run it and picks up a couple of yards before he's hit, knocked out of bounds, and he goes tumbling over the bench over there, but bounces back up, and I think he's all right.
They call him Dino, and he went bounding into that snowdrift over there. Those white uniforms, he might have disappeared in there for a while, but
let's take another look at this one.
Just tucking it under and going to run to the outside.
He's going to run way outside on this play.
Throws a stiff arm there on Gary Beck, but Beck just able with the momentum to force him out of bounds, and then he goes over the bench and into that snow pile there.
Into one of many snowdrifts in the Canton area.
He's saying, let me run it again, because that snow was cold.
3rd down, 8 yards to go, down to 7:11 to go here in the football game. Titans just trying to sit on the lead and run out the clock, trying to pick up a few more first downs. Here's a pitch to Tokar, who is still in the game, and he stopped well short of the first down. Brings up a 4th down and 5 yards to go. And if the Titans punt, I think we're going to see their first punt of the game.
Yeah, they haven't actually had to boot it away this afternoon, although they did line it up earlier with Mark Aiken. And remember, they went for the fake, ended up getting a first down out of it.
Well, Aiken in again, this time presumably to kick it away to number 39, Clint Byer. He's the up man. Take another look at the Westminster fans, and there's Aiken, the Westminster fans, who are still enjoying a little bit of sunlight that we do have left. Dan Bridges standing deep on his own 28-yard line. LaCrosse coming after the kicker. They don't get him, and ball's going to bounce inside the 25-yard line. Pretty good kick, and a little more extracurricular activity over there. Oh, and you hate to see anything like this. You hate to see anything like this. Hopefully they can break it up. Players from both sides going after each other. John Mirasola for LaCrosse is in there, and they're throwing penalties, and head coach Fusco trying to get his guys to get off the field over there, and finally they do break it up.
If that continues much more, they may not actually wind the clock down on this game. Again, the NAIA very strict on their enforcement. They act like gentlemen off the field. They expect it on the field as well. And it's a shame, again, when you see something like that happen in a ball game of this caliber.
Joe Fusco on that far side is really tearing into a couple of his players on the bench. Not at all happy. And
he's a big disciplinarian. He doesn't like to see that kind of stuff happen. He always preaches about keeping your head in a ball game, regardless of what happens on the other side. And that time, I think it was just a combination of the two guys. I don't think there was any one specific person at fault.
Down to 6:14 to go here. Westminster leading the national championship game 49-24. Dennis Gadel still in there at quarterback for LaCrosse, and pretty much that same starting offensive team that began the game. Gadel with a quick out to Dean Washington, makes the catch, and then drops it incomplete at the 25-yard line. Make it 2nd down. Jim Socher from WXOW TV in LaCrosse, and Gary Swanson from WPIC Radio in Sharon, Pennsylvania, bringing you the action of what has been a action-filled championship game. More action than I'm sure anyone anticipated.
Coming out about 10 o'clock this morning, field basically looked like a hockey rink. Thought about painting blue lines down there instead of the yellow ones for the yard lines. And we have seen a lot of scoring here this afternoon.
2nd down, 10 yards to go. LaCrosse from its own 21. Going to keep it on the ground. Kyle Reddy, first time we've seen him run the ball for a while. Still working very hard. Picks up about 9 yards out to the 30-yard line. Reddy had such a very, very good first half. Ran for more than 100 yards. LaCrosse really moved the ball well in the first half, but haven't had too many opportunities to run it here in the second. That's because, number one, they haven't had the ball, and number two, they've been so far behind they've had to rely on their passing game. 3rd down and 1. Gadel back in the pocket. He'll pump once. Under pressure, throwing long for Pete Hightower. He's got him for big yardage all the way down to the 25-yard line of Westminster, and that's a good-looking play.
Beautifully thrown ball by Gadel that time, just dropping back and going deep. See it again. Gadel with the pump fake, trying to catch the defense flat-footed, and then he does so and goes deep. And you see how far he actually threw that football. A great reception. Lewis Berry able to catch up and make the stop for Westminster, but a big first down for LaCrosse.
Boy, on a cold day when it's tough to grab the football and kind of tough to stay loose, Gadel, he's got a strong arm, and he demonstrated that on that play. Eagles 1st and 10 from the Westminster 20-yard line, and Gadel going to load it up again. He's throwing in the end zone for Dean Washington. A little bit of contact there, but Dean Washington makes the catch for the touchdown. Nice job of concentration. They were kind of jostling for position back there, but Washington makes the catch with 5:15 to go, and hey, LaCrosse keeps coming back. I don't know if they have enough firepower to get there, but they keep coming back.
Excellent concentration by Washington that time. you'll see once the pass is thrown here, Washington and Borowitz kind of bumping each other down here in the end zone. As the ball comes down, he slips off around Borowitz to make the catch. Excellent concentration, getting both feet down in before that back of the end zone, and the touchdown is good.
25-yard touchdown catch for Dean Washington. He had a 27-yard gain in the first half on a catch. It wasn't for a touchdown. LaCrosse trailing 49-30 with 5:15 to go. No choice but to go for two, and they throw, and it is intercepted, and look out. Westminster may come up with 2 points. It is intercepted by Lou Berry, and you can forget it. Berry is going to take it all the way.
Of all the people that could have picked it up for Westminster, Lewis Berry, the fastest guy on the team. And the Titan fans have something to take home that they haven't seen all season.
That play in itself may be indicative of the way this entire game has gone for LaCrosse. Something good happens, but then something even worse happens after that. Gadel under heavy pressure just kind of throws it up for grabs, and it's intercepted by Berry, and I'm sure Gadel, had he known that Berry was going to be right there,
look at
just eaten it.
Troy Bellrichard, number 92 that time.
Well, it is now 51-30. You see the scoreboard with still 5 minutes and 15 seconds to go here in the football game. We'll be back with more of the NAIA Championship football game after this. 51-30, Westminster on top.
Christmas comes but once a year, a time for friends and family dear.
Give the gifts they're wishing for.
You'll find them at your Big World store.
The holidays are close at hand, and shopping time is fleeting.
So hurry to your Big Wheel.
From all of us, season's greetings.
Big Wheel says, good luck, Titans. Today's championship game is made possible in part by Newcastle Orthopedic Associates. Orthopedics and orthopedic surgery, total joint, sports medicine, reconstructive, and arthroscopy. Doctors Gerald H. Weiner, John M. Corbett, Michael Larkin, and Donald E. Bittner, certified by the American Board of Orthopedic Surgeons. 2602 Wilmington Road in Newcastle. Today's live telecast is made possible in part by the NEPCO Corporation. Entering its third decade, Northern Engineering and Plastics Corporation, NEPCO, continues its leadership in plastic closures for the dairy, bottled water, and juice industries. When you buy a NEPCO closure, you're buying more than just another plastic closure. You're buying total closure value.
Happy holidays and congratulations to the Titans from NEPCO.
Jameson Memorial Hospital, accredited by the Joint Commission of Healthcare Organizations, is proud to be a sponsor of this live championship game. Jameson Hospital offers comprehensive health and human services, including cancer diagnostic center, medical surgical specialty programs in orthopedic, maternal, child health, and medical rehabilitation, comprehensive outpatient and emergency services, complete home health care, and a mobile health screening unit. Part of the Jameson Health Systems Incorporated, Jameson Hospital says, good luck, Titans.
Well, the scoring fest continues. It is now Westminster leading 51-30 with still 5:15 to go. And Gary, I suppose it's going to take about 75, maybe 80 points to win this thing the way it's going.
The rate it's going, absolutely. Westminster right now with only one man back here for the kick, obviously assuming another onside kick as we see it, and it doesn't go 10 yards.
Yeah, that one almost got there. Went about 9 before it fizzled out again. And the Titans have scored from just about everywhere today. LaCrosse going for an extra point. The Titans get 2. Titans have had a couple of big plays and some nice runs. And I guess that goes to show you they're a very well-balanced team, and they can hurt you in a number of ways. And they've hurt the Eagles of LaCrosse in quite a few ways today.
They have benefited from having the same assistant coaching staff for the past several years. And you get that kind of regularity, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It obviously pays off in the long run.
Here's Dean Santorio. He's going to roll out and he's going to run to the far side again and show some good quickness. Goes for about 6 or 7 yards. I don't think the Titans are going to put the ball in the air anymore in this one.
Just want to run the clock out and Basically, they're going to try and keep it in between the yard lines, the sidelines, that is, and make sure that clock continues to roll.
Let's talk for a minute about Joe McKee, Gary. You mentioned earlier that pro scouts might be taking a long look at him.
What the most impressive thing about McKee is he's never lost in a Titan uniform. That's an incredible winning percentage, 100%. And, of course, he's led them to 26 games consecutive winning, and it looks like a 27th here this afternoon. A lot of folks have their eye on him, and they feel he may go as a free agent for the NFL.
Santorio again close to the first down. He's down to about the 34-yard line.
What has impressed his teammates about McKee is even when times seem to be kind of rocky, or like earlier this afternoon when they were down 14-0, that seems to be when he flashes the brilliance. It seems to be when he comes into the huddle and says, okay, guys, let's buckle our chin straps and go at him. He's been an excellent leader for the Titans, and I'm sure some folks at Youngstown State University a little bit upset that he transferred out of there after his freshman year.
Yeah, a lot of times if you have a reasonable amount of ability, that leadership factor is far more important than all the ability in the world. And obviously McKee is one of several guys on that team who really is a good leader. Here's a big hole up the middle in Westminster again. Another apparent first down on the play. That's Mark Norcutt, who's had an outstanding game here this afternoon. Drives the ball inside the 25 down to about the 23-yard line. We're down to 3 minutes and 47 seconds here to go. Westminster leading LaCrosse 51-30 in the NAIA Division II National Championship game. Of course, this was billed all week and for the latter part of the season as the rematch. And what a rematch it's been. It's been a wild game, basically, start to finish here. Of course, Westminster won it last year on the last-second play, kind of storybook fashion. They're not going to get the storybook ending today, but I don't think anybody on that far side of the field is complaining. They're very happy with the win they're going to get.
Santorio is going to lose the football rolling out.
Well, if you're going to turn it over, this is the kind of situation where I don't think the coaching staff can be that upset because they're still comfortably out in front. Take another look at it.
Santorio just going to roll out and hoofing it out there. The ball just playing is going to slip right out of his hands. And LaCrosse able to cover it and get the ball back.
Corey Korn, a guy who knew enough to just fall on top of Santorio, and I'm not sure who came up with it. There were about 5 Eagles in the vicinity. Gary Beck, I think, made the play. Gary Beck, so he does come up with a turnover. It's not as spectacular as LaCrosse might have liked, but he does get the ball back. 3:16 to go. The Eagles within 21 points, looking for a miracle, and Dennis Gadel back in the pocket, and again will throw long, looking for Troy Bellrichard, and it's complete at the 47-yard line. And this LaCrosse team is going to have to go without a huddle now, and they finally reached the stage where they're now 3 scores away from winning the football game. However, they need to get a touchdown per minute in the conversions to do it. Very unlikely, but you never know. They're going to keep going. Gadel up under center. He sends Dean Washington wide to the left, and Dan Bridges split out about 10 yards to the near side. Reddy and Harold Owens in the backfield. Reddy going to stay in a block, and Gadel throwing up top for Bellrichard again, and this one a little bit overthrown down at about the 20-yard line, incomplete.
Len Rich, a lot of pressure that time on Gadel, actually getting to him just as he released the football. And didn't get the distance that he wanted as it sailed downfield, as you see Coach Fusco walking the sidelines. Not usually a satisfied man until the clock finally goes off at the end of 4 quarters, and I'm sure he'll still have plenty of things to go over with the team later on tonight.
He doesn't exactly look happy at this stage.
He doesn't smile too often, and when he does, we encourage him not to. So, for the folks back in New Wilmington, don't pass that along to him that I said that. But
I hope Joe doesn't have this game on tape, Gary. Gadel back in the pocket, thrown over the middle again. Pete Hightower hit, complete. No, they say incomplete. The official on the far side of the field says that Hightower did not have possession, and it will bring up a 3rd down and 10 yards to go. Big hit on that play.
Take a look at it again. Gadel, plenty of time. Going to fire downfield, and that's very similar to the touchdown play in the first half for Westminster. But didn't have it long enough, and they call it an incomplete pass.
Pete Hightower, the freshman wide receiver from the East Coast, hometown of Lakewood, New Jersey, and he's a guy who a lot of Eagle fans are going to look forward to seeing the next several years because he's had a good season. He's had a pretty good game today as well. 3rd down and 10. The Eagles Now with just 2:46 to go in the game, trailing by 21 points, and Gadel again back to throw. He finds Harold Owens out there. Harold coughs up the ball. It is loose, and I think it's out of bounds. They're going to rule a reception and a fumble, and the ball rolled out of bounds.
Matt Raich.
He thought he had it there.
He wants that ball, but they're not going to give it to him. He's a fiery defender for Westminster. Talk more about him in just a minute. We'll take a look at the replay here, though, first.
Harold Owens with his first catch of the game, and a little bit surprised they haven't isolated Harold a little bit more on the flat passes. You'll remember a week ago against Baker University in Kansas, Harold had a play similar to that, a little more downfield, where he caught the ball and went 40 yards for the score. He's, throughout his career, been a nice double threat, a good runner, a good kick returner, and actually a good receiver. Make it a triple threat. 4th down, so this could be it for the Eagles. 4th down and 5. They need to pick up the first down to stay alive. Gadel rolling out and now looking, throws over the middle, and it's caught by Dean Washington as he came crawling back toward the ball at the 30-yard line. So it's another LaCrosse first down with 2.5 minutes to go, and they're still fighting, folks, back in Wisconsin. Don't give up yet. They're trying to get back into this thing.
See the replay here again. You see that number 3 fade out of the top of your screen. That's Matt Raich again. Titan defensive coaches are really excited about him. He's one of the hardest hitters on the team, and he's only a freshman.
Here's Gadel again, straight back. He's got some time, thrown over the middle for Hightower. The ball deflected away and intercepted in the end zone. Intercepted in the end zone. Making the play down there is Mike Ruby. Mike Ruby was dying to come out of there, but his teammate grabbed him by the shirt and said, "You're not going anywhere, buddy. You're staying right here." Down the ball.
First time I've seen someone tackle someone on their own team. But yeah, they wanted it down and bring it out to the 20. And a good idea there. No sense in taking any chances with the lead you have right now.
I wouldn't say that's our best tackle of the game, but maybe we'll put it in our top 10. That's one of the smartest plays that you're going to see.
Mike Stevens with the tip. And Mike Ruby coming down with it, and then Stevens saying, "Whoa, hang on, don't go out of this end zone."
Yeah, Mike Stevens with the tip, and then he gave his teammate a tip and said, "Hey, take it easy. You don't want those guys hitting you. It's a lot more fun when we hit them." We're down to 2 minutes and 12 seconds to go here. Westminster with the ball and a 21-point lead. They lead this one 51-30 and get into the outside with some very good running room, I should say, is Kyle Hetrick. First time we've seen him carry the ball today, and showed some explosiveness getting to the outside. Here he is, Hetrick, simple off-tackle play, and nothing doing there, so he decided to cut it to the outside, got a couple of good blocks, and in his first carry today picks up about 12 yards. 1st and 10 for the Titans from their own 32-yard line. The clock continues to run with 1 minute and 51 seconds to go. 2 wide receivers split wide to this near side. Santorio up under center. Straight ahead for about 3 or 4 yards, and another penalty flag on the play.
Matt Crooney that time bowling his way up the middle. That's been his situation throughout the day, and now another flag thrown afterwards. A lot of discussion going on by the officials down there at the center of the field.
Have a face mask. Defense.
Official there started to make the personal foul signal.
Well, the battery on referees Nick Define's little microphone deal is still working.
He's going to try it again.
Job down there.
Face mask, defense, automatic first down.
Apparently considered intentional with the automatic first down. And again, those mistakes by LaCrosse, not helping their matter at all. They're going to have to certainly take a look at the films tonight and keep those things in mind next year.
A reminder to all you folks watching back in Wisconsin and LaCrosse and the entire Cooley region, join Jeff Lenzen tonight for a recap of the game at 10 o'clock on our News Source 19 weekend report, and then join Jeff again at 10:30. We'll be doing a live half-hour program, taking another look at today's game. Jeff will talk to Eagles head coach Roger Herring and a couple of the ball players. That's all coming up for you starting at 10 o'clock. The coverage continues at 10:30 tonight on Channel 19, WXOW TV.
2-yard pickup on the play, 2nd down, 8.
Take this time to thank everybody in Pennsylvania and back in Wisconsin and even Ohio who've been watching this broadcast. We certainly hope you've enjoyed it at home. We've enjoyed bringing it to you. We're getting frozen to death at this point of the day.
Certainly has been an enjoyable experience, I know, for myself, and I know a lot of people appreciative, certainly, of the exposure that the NAIA Division II is getting here this afternoon.
Thanks to the NAIA for all their help in making this broadcast possible. Thanks to the folks here in Canton who have been very, very warm and friendly. Thanks to the UW-La-Crosse Alumni Association. Thanks to everybody else. Thanks to the folks out in Pennsylvania for watching and helping to make it all possible. We've certainly enjoyed it. It's starting to wind down now. The folks on the Westminster sidelines with just 10 seconds to go.
And with the flag, they are going to have to stop the clock.
Also, thanks to our crew, which is freezing in all corners of this stadium. The folks from Image Video who've done a tremendous job. You've seen a couple of them on camera today, and they're everywhere, and they made our job a lot easier. And they have a lot more fun when they do these things in September, though, because this is a little bit too cold. That's it. Time has expired. The final score in the NAIA Division II National Championship game, the Westminster Titans make it 2 in a row. The final here from Canton, Ohio, Westminster 51 and LaCrosse 30. We'll be back with some post-game information after this.
The year is 1855. The people of Lawrence County are just getting on their feet. And you know who's here to help them? First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania. Since then, we've grown into Lawrence County's largest bank with the biggest interest in our community, with more services, more employees. In fact, our deposits are still loaned locally to help our area prosper. So when you need a strong partner, join the tradition. You'll feel right at home at First National Bank of Western Pennsylvania.
Westminster College. This name has come to represent a wide array of opportunities. Westminster offers concentrated academic attention as well as resources to help stimulate individual growth. Westminster has a strong Greek system, and 85% of students who apply to medical schools are accepted. As well as a top-rated academic school, Westminster is also known for its athletic accomplishments. Westminster College offering academic excellence and a chance for personal growth. Start creating your future at Westminster College.
Hi, I'm Don DeMarco from Titan Chevrolet, the home of champions. I'd like to take this time to congratulate Coach Joe Fusco, his staff, and the Westminster Titans for their record-setting year, and as they go for their 4th national championship. Good luck, guys.
Go for it.
Titan Chevrolet, 138 South Market Street, New Wilmington. Radio and television station managers surveyed nationally listed 2 prerequisites for future broadcasters: practical experience and a good liberal arts education. That's why Westminster College graduates do well in the competitive broadcasting job market. For a tour of Westminster's fine broadcasting facilities and to learn more about the value of a liberal arts education for future broadcasters, call the Westminster College admissions office. Experience and liberal arts await the future broadcaster at Westminster College.
We are back one more time at Fawcett Stadium in Canton, Ohio, where the Westminster College Titans have just made it 2 in a row over the LaCrosse Eagles. They've won their 2nd consecutive NAIA Division II National Championship. Head coach Joe Fusco now, Gary, finally lets out that smile. That's not such a bad smile.
No, it's not. I was teasing him a little bit earlier, and I know some of the folks back in the New Wilmington area know that as well. We have exchanged barbs several times over the years, and it's all been in good fun. And when the smile does come out, it's usually well-deserved, and his team put on a fine effort here this afternoon, just taking advantage of a lot of lacrosse mistakes. I'm sure lacrosse is going to sit back and, again, appreciate the fact that this team from Wisconsin did get into the national championship. That's saying something in itself, but they do have some things that they'll want to concentrate on, I'm sure, for next season, and one of those is cutting down on some of the mistakes. I have to tell you one thing quickly. I'm surprised Westminster asked me to do this game because the last one I did with Westminster involved was the game they lost against Geneva back before the winning streak started.
You've redeemed yourself. Looking at the names of all the people on our crew who made this broadcast possible, they did an outstanding job. I'm sure you enjoyed all the pictures and the sound that they were able to bring you. Our congratulations go out, of course, to the Westminster College Titans who've done it again, a tremendous season, and our congratulations also go out to the UW-LaCrosse Eagles, who you got to remember were picked to finish somewhere around 3rd or 4th in their own conference and really exceeded everyone's expectations, did a great job getting here. I know they're disappointed now, but they did have a tremendous season. It was an exciting football game here in Canton. We certainly enjoyed bringing it to you. We want to thank everybody involved from the NAIA, from Canton, the folks back in the Cooley region in LaCrosse, and the folks out in Pennsylvania who helped us make this broadcast possible. We hope you enjoyed it. I'm Jim Socia from WXOW TV in LaCrosse. For Gary Swanson from WPIC Radio in Sharon, Pennsylvania, once again, the final score, Westminster College 51 and the University of Wisconsin-LaCrosse 30. This has been the NAIA Division II Championship game. Thanks for watching, everyone.